After regaining her status, the ex-wife begged for remarriage. Lin Ming paid for his wife to study abroad, but she brought back a new lover and kicked him out. Chapter 1: Divorce. Feathery snowflakes danced across the sky. At the airport exit. Who is he? Lin Ming felt a stabbing pain in his heart as he hoarsely asked. In front of him, a stunning woman with a curvaceous figure stood hand in hand with a thin man. The woman was Li Yusin, Lin Ming's wife, whom he had been separated from for 2 years while studying abroad. But now, she was standing right in front of him holding another man's hand. You've already seen it, haven't you? He my new boyfriend, Zhang Ziheng. Li Yusin's face was cold, devoid of any guilt for her betrayal. Instead, she declared with righteous confidence, Lin Ming, our marriage is over. Let us get a divorce. What? Lin Ming felt as if he had fallen into an icy abyss, unable to believe his ears. Did you not understand? I want a divorce. Li Yusin's eyes were filled with disgust as she coldly said. I've been improving myself every moment in the past 2 years. I even graduated from Tianjin University. We're no longer on the same level. For the past 2 years, what have you done besides running a company? Nothing. I'm tired of this. I want someone who cares for me, someone who can help me grow, a true soulmate, not someone as lowly as you. She spoke with an air of superiority, as if looking at a stranger. His once beloved wife had become so unfamiliar. Lin Ming felt a chill in his heart and frowned. I've spent 2 years managing the company, increasing its profits by dozens of times, and I've even been supporting your parents. If it weren't for me, where would you have gotten the money to study abroad? How would you have had the opportunity? You've been studying for just 2 years, and now you've forgotten where you came from. What makes you think you're so superior? Lin Ming was furious, his face flushed with anger. Back when the Li family's company was on the brink of bankruptcy, he had single-handedly saved it, leading it out of its crisis and turning losses into profits. It was also him who had been taking care of her parents. Without him, Li Yusin wouldn't have had the chance to study abroad at all. Yet despite all his sacrifices, all he got in return was betrayal. Are you done? Li Yusin sneered mockingly. What's the point of saying all this? Did I ever beg you? Did I ever ask for your help? No, right? You did all of it willingly. Do you think you can use this to shackle me? Too bad, Li Yusin, I'm not a foolish woman. Your tricks don't work on me. Her face was full of disdain. Lin Ming's heart was filled with bitterness. It was true she had never explicitly asked for his help. But he thought of his dying grandmother in the hospital, whose only wish was to see his future wife one last time. Suppressing his anger, he decided to take her to see his grandmother first. Come with me, I have something urgent to tell you. Lin Ming reached out to grab Li Yusin's hand. What are you doing? Li Yusin harshly shook off his hand and glared at him. Don't touch me. If you have something to say it here. I don't want Ziheng to misunderstand. What? Lin Ming's eyes widened in disbelief. We haven't even officially divorced yet. And you're already saying things like this? Are you deaf? Zhang Ziheng sneered from the side. She's my woman now. Don't touch her. Step aside. Li Yusin smirked at Lin Ming, clearly agreeing with Zhang Ziheng's words. We're not divorced yet. You're still my wife. Lin Ming's brow furrowed, his anger barely contained. Yusin, grandma is seriously ill in the hospital. Her last wish is to see you one last time. Please, just come with me to the hospital. TSK, are you an idiot? Zhang Ziheng interrupted him with a look of disdain. Yusin just got off the plane, and you want her to see someone who's about to die? That's so unlucky. How could you even suggest that? Remember this, Yusin is my woman now, not yours. I have the right to stop her from going. Got it. His face was filled with mockery, his eyes looking at Lin Ming as if he were a fool. Yes. To him, Lin Ming was nothing but a brainless fool. It's none of your business until we're divorced. Lin Ming glared at him, then grabbed Li Yusin's hand, ready to pull her away. You're hurting me. Li Yusin struggled fiercely. She had just gotten off the plane, and the thought of seeing someone on their deathbed made her feel disgusted. What the hell are you doing? Don't touch my girlfriend. Zhang Ziheng roared in anger, charging at Lin Ming and trying to shove him away. But he couldn't move him at all. I said, let go. Zhang Ziheng punched Lin Ming's nose, making him wince in pain. Enraged, Lin Ming kicked Zhang Ziheng in the stomach. R. Zhang Ziheng was sent flying, his head hitting the ground with a thud. He groaned in pain. Ziheng? Li Yusin gasped, then slapped Lin Ming across the face and screamed, "You've gone too far." She hurriedly helped Zhang Ziheng up, her face full of concern. Are you hurt? Do you need to go to the hospital? Lin Ming stood there in a daze, feeling utterly heartbroken. His once gentle and devoted wife had just raised her hand against him for another man. Lin Ming, you're unbelievable. Li Yusin's face was full of disgust as she shouted. This is exactly why I want a divorce. You're too violent, just like a street thug. You always resort to violence. Even if Ziheng wasn't here, our marriage still wouldn't last. I could never be with someone so low class. Lin Ming wiped the blood from his nose and laughed bitterly. They say a woman with a changed heart is the most terrifying. It's true. Even though Zhang Ziheng was the one who attacked first, Li Yusin still blamed him. Sorry, I shouldn't have hit him. Lin Ming forced himself to calm down and squeezed out a bitter smile. I'll give you 20% of the company's shares, worth 30 million yuan, for free. Just come with me to see Grandma, okay? I'm begging you. Enough. Li Yusin's eyes were full of Zhang Ziheng. She didn't even acknowledge Lin Ming's plea. The company was my family's to begin with. Those shares never belonged to you. I'll be taking over everything. From now on, the company has nothing to do with you. With that, she helped Zhang Ziheng into a taxi and left. Lin Ming stood alone in the snowstorm, watching the taxi disappear into the distance, his heart frozen cold. At the hospital. Xiao Ming, didn't you say you were bringing Yusin to see me? On the hospital bed, his frail grandmother looked at him weakly, her voice hoarse. Looking at her frail, candle-like life, Lin Ming swallowed his grief and forced a smile. Yusin's flight got delayed. Are you hungry? Let me feed you. He could only lie to her, so she wouldn't be heartbroken. All right. Grandma believed him, nodding slightly. Xiao Ming, take good care of the company. Look after Yusin's parents. Don't let her worry. She's alone abroad, it's not easy for her. Chapter 2, Stop pestering her. She talked a lot, but Lin Ming became more and more angry and felt extremely uncomfortable. He really wanted to tell his grandmother. Li Yusin has completely changed. Not only did she cheat on her husband, but she also brought her lover home. She is not worth your concern. Crunch. Suddenly the door of the ward was pushed open and a middle-aged woman walked in. It was my mother-in-law Jing Xueqin. Bang. Jing Xueqin took out a share transfer contract from her bag and threw it on Lin Ming's face, saying coldly, I have two things to ask you. First, sign it and hand over 20% of the company's shares. Second, my daughter has a new boyfriend, you are not allowed to pester her anymore. Then he took out another check and said, here is 5 million. You gave 5 million to the company. If you sign now, I will give it back to you. When the Li family company was on the verge of bankruptcy, it was Lin Ming who mortgaged his house and got 5 million to revitalize the company, turning losses into profits and bringing the company to an unprecedented height. Otherwise, Lin Yusin's family of 3 would have been in debt and living on the streets long ago. There is no chance to study abroad at all. 20% of the company's shares are worth at least 30 million, but Jing Xueqin wants to exchange it for 5 million. This is simply too much. This, mother-in-law, what do you mean by this? Grandma couldn't help but ask. Of course. Shall we go outside and talk? Lin Ming interrupted Jing Xueqin and said humbly, we can't let Grandma know about this. She won't be able to bear it. Jing Xueqin sneered, dragged a chair over and sat down, saying, I have to say this here. Humph, I have looked down on you from the beginning to the end. Why are you glaring at me? Sign it quickly. Also, divorce my daughter immediately and don't bother her anymore. Do you hear me? When my grandmother heard this, she kept asking, divorce, what divorce? Who is divorcing whom? It's someone else who wants a divorce. Lin Ming said quickly. Old woman, you're almost dead, why do you care so much? Jing Xueqin's voice was loud, sharp and piercing, and she said loudly, I am not afraid to tell you that from now on, my daughter is no longer your granddaughter-in-law. She has found someone better. What? Hearing this, Grandma suddenly became excited and asked tremblingly, "Mother-in-law, why does Yusin want a divorce? Can you please persuade Yusin? Xiaoming loves her very much. He has paid a lot. It will be different once Xiaoming recognizes his ancestral roots. We can't get divorced. Returning to one's roots. Har har. Zheng Xueqin said with disdain. He's such a poor fellow, what good is that even if he returns to his roots? He's still a loser. My daughter was really unlucky to marry him. My daughter is looking for the heir of the Zhang family. Do you know the Zhang family? It is one of the top 10 families in Fengcheng. Can a waste like your grandson compare to the heir of the Zhang family? You old woman, you better mind your own business. Hearing this, Grandma trembled with excitement. Puff. Blood kept flowing out of my grandmother's mouth and dripping down, staining her clothes and sheets red. She opened her mouth to say something, but no words came out. Oh, don't think you can scare me by vomiting blood. This marriage is over. Zhang Xueqin continued in a sarcastic voice, my daughter is so outstanding, you, a useless grandson, are not worthy of my daughter at all. Roll. Lin Ming finally exploded and glared at Zhang Xueqin fiercely. Ouch. Seeing Lin Ming's ferocious look as if he wanted to eat someone, Zhang Xueqin was so scared that she took 2 steps back, opened the door and ran out. Doctor! Save him quickly. Soon, Grandma was pushed into the ICU for emergency treatment, but unfortunately she was already a dying woman and the rescue was no longer effective. Suburban cemetery. Lin Ming, wearing a black suit, stood in front of his grandmother's grave for a long time. A lot of people came to my grandmother's funeral from the beginning to the end, most of them were her friends and some relatives. But no one from the Lin family came. Buzz buzz buzz. The cell phone in his pocket suddenly vibrated and Lin Ming answered the call. I am Lin Xiaoqian. A deep and majestic voice came from the other end of the phone. Hearing this name, Lin Ming's eyes flashed with coldness, and he asked in a calm voice, what's the matter? Kid, I'm your father after all, so watch your words, okay? Although Lin Xiaoqian was scolding, there was a hint of guilt in his tone, and he said, the old lady has passed away, and you have fulfilled your filial piety. When do you plan to go home? If I remember correctly, I am just a bastard, not qualified to enter the Lin family. There was a hint of sarcasm in Lin Ming's voice. He is Lin Xiaoqian's illegitimate son. The Lin family is one of the largest families in Yangjing, with a history of hundreds of years. In terms of financial strength and power, it ranks among the top 5 in the country. A real giant. Before Lin Xiaoqian took over as the head of the Lin family, Lin Ming had been living a life of hiding from the public. His mother died early, so he lived with his grandmother most of his childhood. Har har, I have paved the way for you. Lin Xiaoqian's tone was full of pride as he said, I have cleared all the opposing voices. You can come back anytime to recognize your ancestors. Wait a few days. I'm in a bad mood now. Lin Ming said a little tiredly. I've wronged you over the years. To make it up to you, Dad has arranged a good marriage for you. Can I refuse? No. Because this is good for you. By the way, regarding your relationship with that woman, I must say that divorcing her is the right choice. Lin Ming couldn't refute it. In the evening, Lin Ming was packing up at home when Li Yusin suddenly called. Lin Ming, go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to get a divorce at 10 o'clock tomorrow, don't forget. Li Yusin's cold voice sounded new. Lin Ming agreed readily. At this point, he had lost any desire to save the situation. From the moment Grandma closed her eyes, all Lin Ming's feelings for her were gone, and he just felt that she was disgusting. Don't be unconvinced, Zheng is much better than you. Li Yusin said, he is a master's degree holder from Tianjin University. After graduation, he started working on Wall Street. In just 1 year, he earned his first pot of gold, a full $10 million. He is born to do great things. Do you know Wall Street? Har har, a country bumpkin like you doesn't know either, and you wouldn't understand even if I told you. The Zhang family is one of the top 5 families in Fengcheng. Do you know the Zhang Group? It's the leading local enterprise. In terms of knowledge, ability, and family background, you are not even worthy of carrying his shoes. Between the lines, Li Yusin had only one meaning, which was that Lin Ming was too mediocre and not worthy of her at all. She had no idea that Lin Ming, who seemed very ordinary to her, actually had such a shocking identity in secret. Chapter 3 Wait until next life. Lin Ming secretly laughed in his heart. Why didn't I realize she was this kind of woman before? If she knew my identity, how regretful would she be? I hope you won't regret it then. Lin Ming hung up the phone after he finished speaking. Humph, you want me to regret it with a piece of trash like you? Li Yusin put down her phone and snorted disdainfully. It's impossible in this life, wait until the next life. Har har, he won't have a chance in his next life. Zhang Ziheng came over with a plate of cut fruit and said with a contemptuous smile. With the power of my Zhang family, I can make him unable to survive in Fengcheng with just one word from me, and he will never be able to turn over a new leaf in his life. Li Yusin smiled with satisfaction, kissed him on the face, and said, Honey, you're the best. Har har, I'll take you to a high-end business reception in a couple of days and introduce you to some big shots. Zhang Ziheng smiled proudly and said, as long as I can negotiate a deal, I can make more money than you do in a year. Really? Li Yusin was overjoyed and hugged him with a happy face. Thank you, dear, you are the best to me. At the same time, the doorbell of Lin Ming's house rang. When the door opened, 3 people were standing outside. One was a very tall woman with a curvy figure, wearing large sunglasses and a mask, and her face could not be seen clearly. The other 2 were middle-aged burly men wearing black suits and sunglasses. They looked like bodyguards. Master, we were sent by the head of the family. One of the bodyguards said, This is Miss Wang, your fiancée. Fiancée? Lin Ming was stunned for a moment, then nodded, Come in. The woman glanced at him and walked into the house. The bodyguard added, Master, the head of the family wants you to register for the marriage certificate with Miss Wang as soon as possible and go back together. New. Lin Ming said something and closed the door. Turning around and looking at the woman in the room, Lin Ming frowned and said, You cover your face, are you because you are ugly? Are you too embarrassed to see people? As soon as these words were spoken, Wang Bingning became furious. She took off her mask and sunglasses, revealing a breathtakingly beautiful face. With a perfect oval face and impeccable facial features, she is truly stunningly beautiful. Open your dog eyes and see clearly. Staring at Lin Ming with her big watery eyes, Wang Bingning said unhappily. I wear sunglasses and a mask to keep a low profile, not because I am ashamed to see people. Do you understand? Wang Bingning. Are you the famous star Wang Bingning? Lin Ming was very surprised. That old guy Lin Xiaoqian actually found him a big star to be his wife. What are you doing? Doesn't he know that the entertainment industry is very chaotic? It's me. Seeing Lin Ming's shocked expression, Wang Bingning smiled smugly and said, I'm telling you, this is a fake marriage, in name only, don't try to take advantage of me. If my family hadn't pushed me so hard, I wouldn't have gotten married. Wang Bingning's face was full of resentment and dissatisfaction. Lin Ming ignored her, walked into the room, closed the door, took out his cell phone and called Lin Xiaoqian. Old man, what's the matter with you sending a female celebrity? Don't you know the entertainment industry? Of course I do. Lin Xiaoqian interrupted him and said with a smile. Don't worry. The Wang family and our Zhang family are old friends. Bing Ning is not an ordinary female star. Your worries are totally unnecessary. Just cultivate your relationship with her. That's all. I have a meeting to go to. A family friend's daughter? A powerful marriage. Lin Ming walked out of the room and found Wang Bingning sitting on the sofa playing with her phone, so he asked, Did you just say fake marriage? Yeah, we each had our own things during our marriage, and divorced after 2 years. Wang Bingning said, Because my grandfather gave me a death order that I cannot get a divorce within 2 years, otherwise I will not be allowed to stay in the entertainment industry. 2 years. Lin Ming frowned. You dislike me being in the entertainment industry. Wang Bingning put down her phone, squinted her eyes and looked at Lin Ming, revealing a hint of sneer. To be honest, I look down on you even more. A lonely bastard who doesn't even have a name. If Uncle Lin hadn't been so clever and hadn't taken control of the entire Lin family, you wouldn't even be able to enter the Lin family's gate. Even if you were allowed to return to your ancestral home, you would still be a mediocre person who did nothing. You can't compare to the other Lin family members at all. In my eyes, you are no different from trash. She spoke with contempt, saying that Lin Ming's illegitimate child was a status quo, which belittled him. These words really surprised Lin Ming. But he was not angry, instead he was quite happy. It seems that all these years of disguise have not been in vain, and everyone has been successfully deceived. On the surface, he was an unqualified illegitimate child, but in fact, Lin Xiaoqian never neglected his training. 5 years ago, he took the 10 million yuan given to him by Lin Xiaoqian and dominated the domestic and international financial markets, becoming invincible. 5 years later, he has earned nearly 10 billion in wealth. On the day his wife returned home, Lin Ming wanted to share this secret with her, but unfortunately he was betrayed. If you say so, then so be it. Lin Ming said calmly, tomorrow morning, we will go to the Civil Affairs Bureau to register. The next morning at 9:30. Lin Ming had just arrived at the Civil Affairs Bureau, and Wang Bingning hadn't arrived yet, but Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng arrived first. Come in quickly, I'm in a hurry. Li Yusin looked very arrogant, with her head held high, not bothering to even look at Lin Ming. Wait a minute, my fiancé hasn't come yet. Lin Ming said. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng were stunned for a moment when they heard this, and then they couldn't help laughing. Hee, your fiancé. Li Yusin sneered, do you think you are so popular? Are all women vying to marry you? You pay to hire this actor, you think you can piss me off like this? TSK, Lin Ming, please stop being so childish, okay? Zhang Ziheng also laughed and said, this is the typical poor guy's mentality, pretending to be rich. For the sake of face, you can do anything. Li Yusin looked at Lin Ming with contempt and said, why bother? How much money do you have in your pocket? Can you hide it from me? Lin Ming shook his head, she is indeed an actress, but she is not paid for it. Okay, stop stalling for time and get a divorce. Li Yusin became impatient and walked inside after saying that. Lin Ming had no choice but to follow in. The two of them went in not long. Dang dang dang. A rhythmic sound of high heels was heard. Zhang Ziheng looked up and saw a very tall woman with a graceful figure walking towards him. She was wearing a mask and big sunglasses, so I couldn't see her face clearly and didn't know whether she was beautiful or ugly. But with a height of about 1.7 meters, exquisite curves, long legs and thin waist, skin whiter than snow, and a perfect and domineering figure, just looking at it is enough to make the opposite sex excited, without even having to look at her face. It's the best. Zhang Ziheng's eyes widened. Chapter for obtaining the certificate. He deliberately rolled up his sleeves, revealing the $1 million Vacheron Constantin watch on his wrist, and then held the Porsche keys in his hand and walked over with a smile. Hello, beautiful lady. As he spoke, he shook his wrist, revealing his famous watch. He looked up at the woman and said, my name is Zhang Ziheng, and I'm the general manager of Zhang Group. I think we've met before. The woman in high heels was taller than Zhang Ziheng, so he had to look up at her. Zhang Ziheng. Wang Bingning glanced down at him, the corners of her mouth curled up slightly, and said, sounds a bit familiar. Really? Women can't resist luxury cars and watches. This is my business card. Zhang Ziheng took out his gold-stamped business card and handed it over, smiling and saying, my Zhang Group is the leading enterprise in Fengcheng, with investments in all aspects. Maybe we can cooperate. If possible, I would like to invite you to dinner tonight. Wang Bingning glanced at the business card, didn't take it, and said with a smile, sorry, my husband is out. After completing the divorce procedures, Lin Ming and Li Yusin came out. Wang Bingning came forward with a smile, took Lin Ming's arm affectionately, looked at Li Yusin, and said, honey, is she your ex-wife? TSK, her figure is average, her looks are average, her skin isn't good either, and she's almost 30 years old, a total old woman. You have such a bad taste. As soon as these words were spoken, Li Yusin's face turned dark instantly. Is this the man she is looking for? Wang Bingning glanced at Zhang Ziheng again, with a scornful smile on her face, and said, you are not tall, nor strong, just like a skinny guy. How can you compare to your husband who is tall, strong, and handsome? Humph, birds of a feather flock together. Zhang is not even worthy of carrying your shoes. Lin Ming didn't expect that she was so good at arguing with others, and he didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What did you say, bitch? Li Yusin was furious, gritting her teeth in anger, pointing at Wang Bingning's nose and cursing. Do you think you're that good? Wearing a mask and big sunglasses. You look so ugly that you dare not see anyone. Lin Ming is nothing but a waste. A loser. Good for nothing. My husband is the heir of the Zhang family. Does the Zhang family know? It's one of the best family businesses in Fengcheng. What qualifications does he have to compare with my husband? Li Yusin was no longer angry at the end of the story. Instead, she became more and more proud as she spoke. You even like a loser like him. It's obvious that you are also useless. Bang! Before she could finish her words, Wang Bingning slapped Li Yusin on the face, making a crisp sound. If you say it again, I'll hit you again. Wang Bingning took off her sunglasses and mask, revealing a stunningly beautiful face. In an instant, the air seemed to freeze. Li Yusin was instantly choked. With an impeccable figure and a stunning face, both her looks and figure are enough to kill her instantly. Wang Bingning. Li Yusin recognized Wang Bingning's identity at a glance. After all, she is a popular top-tier actress, and her face is very recognizable. But she was very angry, covering her face and cursing. Female celebrities can just hit people at will? Husband, call the police. I'm going to make a big fuss today. I don't believe in evil. Just for this slap, I'm going to make you look bad today. She glared at Wang Bingning with resentment and asked Zhang Ziheng to call the police. Bang! Wang Bingning slapped Li Yusin on the other side of her face with her backhand. Fingerprints are clearly visible on both sides of the face. The Wang family is one of the most prominent families in Yangjing. Wang Bingning has been favored since she was a child, so naturally they will not spoil her. I'm going to kill you. Li Yusin went completely crazy and rushed forward screaming, but was held tightly by Zhang Ziheng. Don't be impulsive. Zhang Ziheng whispered, Wang Bingning is a top-tier celebrity, not a loser like Lin Ming. We can't afford to offend her for now. When I take over as the head of the family and gain control of the family's connections and money, I will be able to easily deal with her. He consoled her like this. Li Yusin also came to her senses after hearing this. Yes, she is a top actress. Before Zhang Ziheng inherited the Zhang family, they could not compete with Wang Bingning. I can only endure it temporarily. Yes, I'm sorry, I was wrong this time. Li Yusin suppressed her anger and pretended to apologize. Please be magnanimous, Miss Wang, and don't bother with me. I'm sorry. Zhang Ziheng also smiled and said, I'm sorry, Miss Wang, we said the wrong thing this time. I'm really sorry. I apologize to you. Wang Bingning was not surprised at all when the two men surrendered. With her status and position, not to mention those two little scoundrels, even the richest man in Fengcheng would have to kneel down. You are sensible. Wang Bingning waved her hand with satisfaction. Let's go, I don't want to see you. The two of them did not get the marriage certificate and left in a hurry. Get in the car. Li Yusin glared at Wang Bingning's back through the car window and cursed, Humph. She's just a dirty actor, what's so great about her? And that loser Lin Ming must have spent all his money to invite her here, just to piss me off. Uncertain. Zhang Ziheng shook his head. You can't hire a top-tier actress like Wang Bingning just by having money. Lin Ming must have spent a lot of money. Don't worry, when I take over the position of the head of the family, I can easily bring her down. And that loser Lin Ming, let's crush him to death as well. Lin Yusin immediately asked, Dear, when can you succeed as the head of the family? There are 4 major families in Fengcheng, and my Zhang family is one of them. As long as I get the support of the other 2 families, the position of the head of the family will be set in stone. Zhang Ziheng said, the Zhu family is having a banquet at the Venus Hotel tonight. All the big shots in Fengcheng will be there. I'm going to give them a big gift. You can come with me. It's a good opportunity to meet more people. Really? Li Yusin was overjoyed. This is an upper-class circle. If I can gain a foothold, I will be a member of this circle in the future. Of course, you are my fiancé. Zhang Ziheng said with a smile. Thank you, dear. Li Yusin suddenly felt extremely happy. My choice was indeed the right one. An excellent partner can lead me to progress. Based on this point alone, Lin Ming, that gigolo, can't even lift a finger against Zhang Ziheng. Humph, so what if he's a big star? Just wait, when my husband inherits the title of the family, I can crush you to death with just one finger. Li Yusin thought proudly in her heart. Coming out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Lin Ming and Wang Bingning both had an extra red book in their hands, which contained their marriage certificate. Come with me to a place tonight and meet some elders. Wang Bingning put away the marriage certificate and said to Lin Ming, the venue is at the Venus Hotel. It will be a very ordinary dinner. Just eat and drink normally. Didn't we say that we should live our own lives? Lin Ming frowned. Since it was a fake marriage, they should not interfere with each other. Oh, the elders know I'm married, and they all want to meet you. Anyway, you just need to show your face, it's nothing special. Wang Bingning said helplessly, besides, didn't I save face for you just now? All right. Lin Ming had no choice but to agree. Chapter 5, Beautiful Women Pick Up Their Husbands. Is 30 million a lot? Since he was going to meet his elders, he couldn't wear old clothes. Wang Bingning took Lin Ming directly to the top luxury shopping mall in Fengcheng. Wang Bingning's move was extraordinary. Just the tie that Lin Ming wore was worth hundreds of thousands of yuan. The watch that symbolized a man's taste and status was a top-level Rolex that required a purchase of tens of millions. That's about it, right? What a waste. Lin Ming frowned, feeling like a puppet being tormented by someone. New suit, new leather shoes, new temperament, he finally looks like a successful man. A smile appeared on Wang Bingning's lips. This was the man worthy of her. No, this suit is still a bit bad, bring us your best one. Not yet. The stylist was stunned. Miss, you have already spent 7 million. Wang Bingning was too lazy to talk nonsense and directly took out a gold diamond card from the limited edition bag. There's 30 million on this card. If I can't spend it all today, I'll smash your store. Lin Ming coughed violently and almost couldn't catch his breath. 30 million, you can't make ends meet. He has been in the Li family for 3 years, working like a slave, but he only got shares worth 30 million. Even so, the Li family would rather be a villain and break up with him than fulfill his promise. Is this expensive? I can earn at least a few hundred million in dividends from filming a scene. Spending 30 million on my man is already very shabby. Lin Ming's mouth twitched. This is not spending money like water, this is simply being a spendthrift woman. The gap between people is even greater than the gap between people and dogs. He worked very hard for the Li family for 3 years, but did not get a penny of the dividends he was entitled to. He was also humiliated in public and kicked out. If it were any other woman, would she be willing to spend 30 million to buy him clothes just for the sake of dressing up? Is he that charming? Don't worry, sir. We will definitely take out the treasures from the bottom of the box. No need. Lin Ming said, walked out of the fitting room and changed back into his old clothes. Why did you take it off? Do you think I can't afford it? Wang Bingning frowned. Old clothes are more fitting. Besides, these are the clothes my grandmother made for me before she died. They are also the only thing she left me. Lin Ming said lightly and walked out. Wang Bingning's face froze. Night falls. In the central area of Fengcheng, Venus Hotel is brightly lit and filled with luxury cars. Lin Ming came out of the underground garage and did not walk with Wang Bingning, but walked inside alone. Wang Bingning is a big star that everyone is paying attention to, and Venus Hotel, as the most famous club in Fengcheng, is destined to be the focus of people. Just by photographing Wang Bingning in the same frame with a strange man, there is no telling how many men would be heartbroken. If they found out that she was married, I'm afraid that even if Lin Ming had 100 lives, it would not be enough to die. The Venus Hotel held a banquet, and the invitation letters had long been sold at sky-high prices. The invitees were all the richest people in Fengcheng. Lin Ming had just walked out of the garage and was about to go in through the main door when a black Mercedes suddenly stopped in front of him. The car door opened, and a hot beauty wearing a high-slit dress got out of the car with a look of pride on her face. A pair of long, jade-white legs, a noble black evening dress, and slightly wavy hair, made the woman's temperament extremely attractive, instantly attracting countless obscene sounds of swallowing saliva. Why is it her? Lin Ming frowned. He didn't expect to see Li Yusin. The Li family's business has nothing to do with tonight's banquet. Li Yusin's industries were all developed by Lin Ming in the past 3 years. He knows them best. Since they are not related, what is she doing here? Zheng, you are amazing. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't be qualified to attend the banquet at Venus Hotel. A man walked out of the car, it was Zhang Zheng. Li Yusin immediately rubbed against him, her face full of admiration. This is just the beginning. When I become the head of the family, we can also hold banquets here. I admire you the most. Li Yusin pouted. The answer is obvious, isn't it? Lin Ming smiled self-deprecatingly, feeling that the past 3 years were not worth it. However, it was all over now. He was too lazy to even look at the couple any longer and was about to enter the hotel. Lin Ming. When Li Yusin saw Lin Ming, she was stunned for a moment, then immediately sneered. Lin Ming, could you please stop clinging to me like a toad? You've married a famous star, why are you still dressed so poorly, like a beggar? As she spoke, she hugged Zhang Ziheng's arm, leaned against him, and had a mocking look on her face. Could it be that he hired a big star to act in the movie to save face, and he went bankrupt and couldn't even afford to wear decent clothes? Ziheng, your dog is living better than someone else's. It was right for me to divorce him. Zhang Ziheng grinned with contempt, threw a few banknotes from his wallet, threw them at his feet, and spat. Yusin, you are wrong. How can he compare to my dog? Since you have been looking after the group for Yushin for 3 years, you can use this reward money to eat. Why don't you kneel down and thank me? Seeing this ugly couple throwing money at people, Lin Ming's face darkened. It is said that a husband and wife are bound by 100 days of grace after being together for a day. He has been a slave to Li Yusin for 3 years. Even if they are divorced, doesn't he have any feelings for her? Who told you that I was a beggar? Lin Ming said. You haven't changed your clothes for 3 days. You look shabby, and you still say you're not a beggar. Li Yusin's face was full of disgust. When Lin Ming was getting the divorce certificate, although it was childish to pay celebrities to pretend to be a rich man, at least he still had some backbone and acted like a man. But now, he is standing in front of the hotel gate like a beggar, which is so embarrassing. From now on, we are from 2 different worlds. Please stop bothering me. You went abroad to study for 3 years, and you came back just to sell your body and curry favor with people. Lin Ming looked at Li Yusin indifferently. It is difficult to change one's nature. People will not change suddenly. Unfortunately, it took me 3 years to realize this. He had devoted 3 whole years to Li Yusin's family, but in the end, all his efforts were in vain. It was really ironic. The industrial foundation I built for your family, even if we keep it conservative and protect our capital, it won't be difficult to expand it by 10 or 20 times in the next 5 years. Isn't that enough? Why do you want to be a vassal of other men? Lin Ming asked calmly. How much money will it take for you to be satisfied, woman? Li Yusin sneered. I am a top student who studied abroad at a business school. 10 or 20 times that is just over 2 billion. Is that a lot? I want to go to the world stage. Lin Ming laughed in silence. What's wrong with studying in a foreign business school? Is it noble? Is academic qualifications what matters in business? It's totally nonsense. Li Yusin, what do you have to say to this beggar? Zhang Ziheng had a sneer on his face and deliberately put his arm around Li Yusin's waist, with a smile of self-righteousness on his face. There is nothing more fulfilling than snatching away another man's beloved woman. Chapter 6. Let me out. I hope you can bear the consequences. Ziheng, I'm not reminiscing about the past with him, I'm just mocking him. What's the point of mocking a beggar? It's just a waste of breath. You might as well tease a dog. At least it knows how to wag its tail. Zhang Ziheng came to Lin Mingxin with a sneer on his face and said arrogantly. You've been Yusin's husband for 3 years, and you haven't even touched her hand. How pitiful. You don't even know how fragrant her body is. Lin Ming's expression became more and more indifferent, and a murderous aura slowly rose in his heart. He didn't want to cause trouble before because he had to take Li Yusin's feelings into consideration, but now, he doesn't need to do that. All right, it's almost time. We have to go in to attend the banquet, and you, a beggar, can only starve and freeze outside without even a doghouse. Zhang Ziheng laughed loudly, deliberately provoking. Lin Ming's eyes were extremely cold. Who are you calling a dog? I said. Bang. A big hand suddenly slapped half of Zhang Ziheng's face and knocked him away. Lin Ming, you are crazy. How could you hit someone? Apologize to Ziheng now. Li Yusin exclaimed, her face full of disbelief. We're divorced, and you still want to control me. Lin Ming sneered. If you dare to hit me, I'll fucking kill you. Zhang Ziheng got up and rushed towards Lin Ming without caring about his manners. Bang. Lin Ming kicked Zhang Ziheng directly, causing him to kneel on the spot and almost vomit acid. Until this time, Zhang Ziheng finally realized one thing: Lin Ming was no longer the little loser who would suffer any complaints. Security, I'm a VIP and I'm being bullied, why don't you come over here quickly? Zhang Ziheng stared at Lin Ming fiercely, furious. He originally wanted to humiliate Lin Ming, but was beaten by Lin Ming until he almost vomited blood. If he doesn't save his face today, how can he survive? Li Yusin looked at Lin Ming disappointedly. She couldn't understand how Lin Ming, the hardworking and honest man like an old ox, could become like this today. Lin Ming, you have changed. Are you qualified to say that? You were the one who changed first. Lin Ming said calmly, which immediately made Li Yusin pale. What promises did she make when they got married, and how is she treating Lin Ming now? You're dead today. I'm the VIP tonight. If you dare to attack me, I'm going to kill you. Who dares to cause trouble in front of the Venus Hotel? At this moment, a group of strong men in black suits and holding explosion-proof batons walked out of the hotel. The man in front of him looked ferocious and even stronger than a bull. The security captain of Venus Hotel is a man who is good at both black and white things. In Fengcheng, he is definitely one of the most ruthless people. With him around, Lin Ming will definitely suffer. Zhang Ziheng immediately showed surprise and pointed at Lin Ming. This kid is causing trouble, kill him for me. Whether there is any trouble or not, and who is causing the trouble, is for us to decide. You have no right to speak here. The security captain looked at Zhang Ziheng coldly and said. He is the one causing trouble. My Ziheng is a respectable man from a wealthy family. How could he do something that confuses right and wrong? Li Yusin supported Zhang Ziheng, feeling so distressed that she almost cried. When she looked at Lin Ming again, her eyes were already filled with hatred. Why did Lin Ming have to pester her? Couldn't he be a magnanimous man and bless her, and then part ways amicably? All the people who came to the Venus Hotel banquet today are top wealthy people. You see, he is dressed like a beggar. Does he look like someone who is qualified to come in? Hearing this, the security captain looked at Lin Ming with a slight flicker in his eyes. Sir, do you have anything to say? The security captain came up to Lin Ming, his eyes fell on Lin Ming's clothes, with a suspicious look on his face. Just like what Li Yusin said just now, one side is a respectable man, dressed like a rich or noble person, and the other side looks like a beggar. Obviously, what the rich and noble side said is more convincing. Is he being judged by his appearance? Facing the security guard's gaze, Lin Ming suddenly felt a little funny. Just half an hour ago, he rejected the outfit worth 30 million yuan offered by the beautiful Wang, and was immediately looked down upon. Does this count as a small slap in the face? Just because he was wearing clothes sewn by his grandmother, should he be considered the one at fault? You are just workers. You can't handle this matter. Let your manager come. Lin Ming said calmly. Since Wang Bingning was involved, he didn't want to make the matter known to everyone. What do you mean, boy? The security captain looked at Lin Ming in astonishment, with a hint of anger on his face. Please show us your invitation immediately, or we'll kick you out. You have to pay for the tickets. I don't need them. I'm invited by your organizer. As soon as Lin Ming finished speaking, two sneers were heard from the side. Lin Ming, I haven't seen you for 2 years, and you've been talking more and more arrogantly. Do you know who is the organizer of the Venus Hotel? The 4 major families have to buy tickets, and you have the nerve to say that others beg you. Security guard, why are you still talking to him? He's a beggar, a loser who can't even afford a meal. How could he have an invitation letter? Zhang Ziheng held his stomach and yelled angrily. I am the young master of the Zhang family, one of the 4 major families in Fengcheng. I order you now to kick him out immediately. The security captain was slightly startled, his eyes swept over Lin Ming again, and finally made a judgment. Boy, Venus Hotel is not a place where you can act wildly. Since you don't have an invitation, please get out and don't let us do anything. Without any evidence, just based on one side's words, you chose to believe him and kick me out. It's okay, I hope you can bear the consequences. Lin Ming shook his head and walked out. But you'd better remember that I just walked in on my own. If I go out now, I may not come in even if you all kneel down and beg me. What kind of sweet dream are you having, kid? The security captain snorted. You can't even have a cold meal today, and you still want us to kneel down and beg you to come in? If you are really that powerful, why are you dressed like a beggar? I have seen many beggars like you who eat and drink for free. Lin Ming smiled and looked at him, too lazy to argue with him. In the past 2 years of working for the Li family, he has seen a lot of people looking down on others. If he gets angry every time, he will lose at least 10 years of his life. To deal with such a short-sighted person, just leave him alone and let others deal with him. Lin Ming did not go far away, but returned to the hotel square and called Wang Bingning. In the past, he would have left long ago, but he had already promised Wang Bingning, and Wang Bingning was really good to him, so he had to repay her favor. "Why haven't you come up yet?" When the call was connected, Wang Bingning's voice sounded, neither intimate nor cold, but with a sense of alienation. When not in public, the beautiful Wang doesn't need to perform the loving couple scene. "I didn't have a ticket, so I was stopped by several security guards." "Security? Wait a minute." Chapter 7 Young Master Zhang. "Get lost, I've never heard of you." In the president's office on the top floor of Venus Hotel, General Manager Wei Jinfeng was looking at the young man opposite with an anxious look on his face. "My big boss, who are you waiting for? Can't we just announce the start of the banquet and then wait slowly? The time on the gilded floor standing lion clock has exceeded the time limit by 7 minutes. You have to know that those who can attend the banquet at Venus Hotel are either rich or noble. Every minute of delay will bring huge losses to their hotel. But now, there has been a delay of 7 minutes, which is a disaster even bigger than a hole in the sky." However, the young man opposite him still had a frown on his face, staring at the list on the table. "I don't care how many people are here now. As long as the person I'm waiting for doesn't show up, even if God comes, there's no way I can hold the banquet." Although Wei Jinfeng was extremely anxious, he could not change his boss's opinion and could only accept the reality. "Boss, you have to tell me the reason, or you can tell me who he is and I can find him for you." "I can't tell you who he is. I can only tell you his last name is Lin. Someone told me that he will definitely come to the party tonight." Hearing this, Luo Jinhong waved his hand in annoyance. "I have been looking for him for the past 2 years. It was not until yesterday that I found out that he was the head of the Li group. But when I went there, he was no longer there." Before Luo Jinhong finished speaking, Wei Jinfeng's cell phone suddenly rang. "Boss, this is the call from the beautiful lady Wang Bingning." Wei Jinfeng took a look at the incoming call number and was shocked. "Take it." Luo Jinhong frowned. He expected someone to call. Although the Zhu family is the protagonist of tonight's banquet, it is rumored to be related to Wang Bingning's engagement. Now that the banquet has been postponed, it is normal for the other party to come and ask for an explanation. But even so, there is no way to change his determination. More than 2 years, nearly 1,000 days and nights. God knows how bad his mood is. He searched Fengcheng inside and out several times and finally found some clues about his eldest brother, but in the end he came up empty-handed. "What did you say? You're married?" At this moment, Wei Jinfeng's exclamation caught Luo Jinhong's attention. "How ridiculous. Don't worry, Miss Wang, I will go there in person and invite Mr. Lin in." Wei Jinfeng put down the phone, looked at Luo Jinhong with gossip, and laughed. "Boss, guess what gossip I heard? Wang Bingning is secretly married, and the guy across the street is a second married man. This guy ran into his ex-wife in front of our hotel and is jealous. I really don't know what's so good about this Lin Ming. He is so lucky. Wang Bingning is the most beautiful woman in the entertainment industry. So many men are lining up to date her, but she actually married a divorced man. The Wei and Jin style makes me sigh, and I wish it could replace it. His surname is Lin, and he has an ex-wife. Could his name be Lin Ming?" The more Luo Jinhong listened, the more familiar it seemed, and he couldn't help but ask. Wei Jinfeng was slightly stunned and scratched his head in confusion. Ms. Wang didn't say, but his ex-wife's surname seems to be Li, and her name is Liu. Liusen. Right. A golden light suddenly flashed in Luo Jinhong's eyes, and he suddenly sat up. Wei Jinfeng nodded blankly. "Boss, how do you know?" "Nonsense, of course I know. My eldest brother has been bewitched by this woman for the past 2 years. I have traveled all over the world but still cannot find him. Where are they?" Luo Jinhong said excitedly, wishing he could run away. Wei Jinfeng raised his hand and pointed in the direction of the hotel square. Mr. Lin wanted to come in, but he didn't have an invitation, so he was kicked out by the security guard. "What did you say? You son of a bitch! You dare to stop my brother? I'll kill him." Luo Jinhong roared, picked up the ashtray and walked out. Wei Jinfeng was shocked when he saw this. "My big boss, calm down first. Don't you see how haggard you are now? I'll bring the people in. Go change your clothes and take a shower." We haven't seen each other for 2 years. You don't want to leave a bad impression, do you? Luo Jinhong raised his head and looked in the mirror, only to find that he was wearing pajamas, had an untidy beard, and his hair was sticking out like a bird's nest. He didn't look like the boss of the most famous hotel in Fengcheng at all. He was even more miserable than a homeless person on the street. Go and help me bring the person in. Before I arrive, you are not allowed to reveal the relationship between Big Brother and me. Don't worry, boss. I'm very reliable. Wei Jinfeng said hurriedly and walked out in a hurry. In front of the gate of Venus Hotel. General Manager, why are you here? When the security captain saw Wei Jinfeng coming down, his eyes suddenly lit up and he hurried over. General Manager, let me introduce you to this man, Zhang Ziheng, the young master of the Zhang family, one of the 4 great families in Fengcheng. Zhang Ziheng stood aside with a reserved smile on his face. When Li Yusin heard the title of General Manager, her eyes suddenly lit up. She leaned against Zhang Ziheng, held her head high and chest high, with a reserved smile of a socialite on her face, as if waiting for Wei Jinfeng to come forward and say hello. Ziheng, you are amazing. You have already alerted the General Manager just by saying his name. No big deal. When I become the clan leader, not to mention the General Manager, even their chairman will have to bow to me when he sees me. Zhang Ziheng smiled complacently, straightened his suit, and walked forward. General Manager Wei Yi, nice to meet you. Thank you for your continued support. Get lost. Wei Jinfeng snorted coldly, pushed Zhang Ziheng away, then glared at the security captain and slapped him in the face. I'll settle your account with you later. In the hotel square, Lin Ming leaned against the fountain, looking at the clear night sky and counting the stars. Mr. Lin. When Wei Jinfeng saw Lin Ming, he breathed a sigh of relief, slowed down his pace, and carefully came to Lin Ming's side. Mr. Lin, God bless you, luckily you are still here. I'm not here, I'm somewhere, do you want me to leave? Lin Ming stretched and said lightly. Zhang Ziheng stood on the steps, looking at the scene in astonishment. I am the young master of the Zhang family. Did your general manager recognize the wrong person? The security captain stood there blankly without saying a word. Looking at the general manager's servile appearance, he felt cold all over, as if falling into an abyss. No, 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 you must not leave. If you leave, I will be in big trouble. Wei Jinfeng wiped the cold sweat off his forehead and put on a flattering expression. What if I don't leave? I don't have a ticket or invitation, so I'm not eligible to go in. Lin Ming glanced at the security captain and said. Unnecessary. Wei Jinfeng bowed and looked even more humble. This is not good. I don't have a ticket and I'm wearing rags. If I enter your Venus Hotel, I'll be a dangerous person and will bring shame to your Venus Hotel. Lin Ming sneered. What are you still standing there for? Are you guys standing there like wooden men? Come over here and apologize to Mr. Lin. Wei Jinfeng immediately turned around and glared at the security captain with an almost murderous look. General Manager, he is just a little beggar. You must have recognized the wrong person. This is the young master of the Zhang family. The security captain looked surprised and wanted to explain. Just do whatever I tell you to do. If you dare to say one more word, I will pull out your tongue right now. Wei Jinfeng roared, rushed forward, grabbed the security captain's collar, and kicked him in the knee. Chapter 8 Li Yusin's Speculation. The security captain was kicked hard on the knee and screamed, falling to his knees. Do you remember what I just said? I said you can't bear this responsibility. Do you believe it now? The security captain looked at Lin Ming with horror on his face, not understanding why things had turned out like this. And he is not the only one who is confused about the situation. Li Yusin stood aside, watching the scene at a loss, with a lot of questions in her mind. How could Lin Ming be so worthy that the general manager of Venus Hotel would take the initiative to greet him? Just teach him a lesson. He's just an employee. There's no need to embarrass him all the time. Seeing that the security captain was already frightened, Lin Ming said lightly. What are you still standing there for? Why don't you thank Mr. Lin for his magnanimity? Wei Jinfeng became furious when he found that the security captain was still in a daze. If this matter is not handled properly, not only will the security captain suffer, I'm afraid he, the general manager, will also be in trouble. Thank you, sir, thank you for your magnanimity, thank you for forgiving my short-sightedness. When you go out to work, especially in the service industry, don't judge people by appearance, and don't think that rich people are respectable. Some people are gilded on the outside, but rotten on the inside. The more glamorous they dress, the more rotten they are on the inside. Lin Ming took a deep look at Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng and walked inside. After hearing these words, Wei Jinfeng seemed to be thinking about something. Mr. Lin, are you trying to implode something? Nothing, you did a good job. I will say a few good words for you in front of Miss Wang. Take care, Mr. Lin. Wei Jinfeng hurriedly saluted and looked at Lin Ming's back, but suddenly reacted. Although he received a call from Wang Bingning, he did not come to greet Lin Ming because of Wang Bingning. Wang Bingning was kind-hearted, but she wouldn't make him so servile. What a jerk the boss is. He has been looking for a big brother for more than 2 years, but why is he so timid that he doesn't even dare to let the big brother know his identity? Thinking of his boss's trembling appearance with excitement, Wei Jinfeng felt frightened again and kicked the security captain hard. You bastard, you almost killed me today. Write me 1,000 apologies and remember everything Mr. Lin told you. Stick them on the bedside as a golden rule. I'll fuck you anytime. If you make a mistake, I'll pull out one of your teeth. The security captain nodded repeatedly, but he also knew that the general manager was protecting his son and was doing it for his own good. General manager, who is this Mr. Lin? The security captain asked carefully. Mr. Lin is. Wei Jinfeng wanted to say something subconsciously, but suddenly stopped. That was a close call, I almost said it. The boss said that his relationship with Lin Ming must not be revealed. Today's banquet is hosted by the Wang family. Wang Bingning is the beloved daughter of the Wang family, and this Mr. Lin is Wang Bingning's husband. Upon suddenly hearing such explosive gossip, the security captain instantly forgot the pain. Sister Fairy is actually married? She is the most beautiful woman in the entertainment industry, is this true? Lin Ming is just a waste. How could Wang Bingning be interested in him? Just then, a resentful voice sounded behind him. Who's talking, asshole? Wei Jinfeng looked back and frowned immediately. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng were still standing in front of the door. When he just went out, he noticed these two people. They claimed to be from the Zhang family and acted like superiors. They wanted to shake hands with him. It was really funny. Are you the young master of the Zhang family? Wei Jinfeng asked. Seeing that Wei Jinfeng finally noticed him, Zhang Ziheng immediately snorted, thinking that Wei Jinfeng wanted to apologize to him. He nodded reservedly and looked at Wei Jinfeng with pride. Yes, I am Zhang Ziheng. But I have to say that your Venus Hotel is well known. I will file a complaint against you for what happened tonight. Just wait and write a letter of apology. Bang! Before Zhang Ziheng could finish his words, he was slapped in the face again, and the gold-rimmed glasses he had specially prepared for the banquet were knocked away. You dare to complain about me? Even if your father came, he would only dare to interact with me as an equal. You haven't even become the clan leader yet, and you dare to show off in front of me. After being beaten 3 times in one night, Zhang Ziheng grimaced in pain and pointed at Wei Jinfeng in frustration. What are you doing? Do you know who I am? I want to file a complaint against you. Wei Jinfeng sneered and waved his hand, and a group of security guards rushed forward. Help me walk. Zhang Ziheng was so frightened that he turned around quickly. Li Yusin supported Zhang Ziheng and fled. Etc. Hearing a voice behind her, Li Yusin stopped. Miss Li, excuse me, Lin Ming was your husband before, right? Li Yusin was stunned for a moment. She didn't expect Wei Jinfeng to ask such a question. She nodded hesitantly. I did marry him 2 years ago, but we are divorced now. Is that so? It's okay. You can go now. Upon hearing this, Wei Jinfeng smiled playfully and turned to walk towards the hotel. Why is he asking you that? Wei Jinfeng just felt confused. It's not that he asked, but someone asked him to ask. Li Yusin looked at Wei Jinfeng's back, as if she suddenly understood something. Ziheng, haven't you figured it out yet? What do you see? Some time ago, there were rumors in Fengcheng that Wang Bingning was engaged, but now she has a husband. Guess why? Li Yusin said, sneering. You mean? Wang Bingning wants to resist the marriage, and Lin Ming is just a tool. Zhang Ziheng's eyes lit up slightly and he said happily. Li Yusin nodded with a proud look on her face. What is Wang Bingning's status? Who is Lin Ming? How could he possibly be worthy of the Wang family's attention? I guess the man Wang Bingning is engaged to must have a very powerful family background. The Wang family doesn't dare to offend him. So even if Wang Bingning wants to resist the marriage, she doesn't dare to oppose it openly. She can only express her protest by making it a done deal. It's a pity that we have offended the general manager. Otherwise, as long as we can get in, we will definitely be able to expose Wang Bingning's tricks and embarrass her as a big star. At this point, Li Yusin revealed a malicious smile. Whether it was the day of the divorce or tonight, she was severely humiliated because of Wang Bingning. Even though she had nothing to do with Wang Bingning before, she now hated Wang Bingning. It doesn't matter. As long as you have an invitation letter, you can enter. It's nothing to offend a general manager. It's just buying 2 invitation letters, Zhang Ziheng said while gritting his teeth. A moment later, Zhang Ziheng spent 3 million and finally got 2 invitations, but he was so heartbroken that he bled. Originally, he didn't have to spend this money. But it doesn't matter. Once he enters the venue, I will take revenge on him with interest. Chapter 9, Billion Dollar Club. In the lobby of Vienna Hotel, after Lin Ming entered the door, he wanted to find an inconspicuous place to close his eyes and rest. In the past 2 or 3 years, he has been working almost exhaustively to manage the mess of the Li family and has never given himself a day off. Li Yusin's choice of divorce was actually not a bad thing. Instead, it helped Lin Ming to unload the heavy burden on his shoulders. Before he took over the Li family's business, the Li family was a mess, with leaks everywhere and almost falling apart. Even with his 5 million for emergencies, it would be almost impossible for the Li family to turn around. But even in such a situation, he took only 2 years to carry out in-depth reforms, not only turning the Li family around, but also giving them a second spring and amassing assets worth at least hundreds of millions. Behind this business miracle is Lin Ming's almost sleepless and all-out dedication. "Mr. Lin, please wait." A voice came from behind him. Lin Ming turned around and saw Wei Jinfeng rushing over with a glass of red wine in his hand. "Sir, I apologize for the trouble I caused you just now," Wei Jinfeng said, holding the red wine in both hands and offering it respectfully. "Romane Conti, your boss has great taste." Lin Ming shook his wine glass. The brand of Romane Conti produces very small amounts of red wine, but it is of extremely high quality. It is the most sought-after wine in their wine circle and has always been in short supply. Is Wang Bingning so rich that she can use this kind of red wine for a banquet? "Sir, you misunderstood. Although I was commissioned by Wang Bingning, my boss is someone else." Wei Jinfeng served carefully. Seeing that Lin Ming was satisfied with the red wine, he breathed a sigh of relief and looked at him secretly. Lin Ming was dressed in ordinary but clean clothes. He did not look like a beggar, as Li Yusin disparagingly said. Instead, he had an edge that was hard to conceal. According to the information obtained, the Li family was almost bankrupt 2 years ago, but suddenly their fortunes turned around and they joined the Billion Yuan Club in just 2 years. Mr. Lin Ming was the one behind this. "Since I have accepted your favor, I will give you a promise. If you have any trouble in the future, you can come to me." Lin Ming's words immediately made Wei Jinfeng grin. "Sir, who is so tactless as to dare to mess with our Vienna hotel? Although my boss is not from one of the 4 major families, not everyone can afford to mess with him." Wei Jinfeng smiled and shook his head. The big brother the boss mentioned might have some abilities, but he didn't know much about the strength of their Vienna hotel. The grand scene is like a raging fire. If I'm not mistaken, your funds are about to collapse, right? Lin Ming took a sip of the red wine, closed his eyes slightly, and felt the rich taste. Wei Jinfeng, who was standing by, suddenly felt his face change and his heart was in turmoil. "Where did you hear this rumor, sir?" "Rumors? Your propaganda campaign has been suspended for 2 months. If you have money, why don't you continue?" Lin Ming walked forward, too lazy to say more, let alone explain. The Vienna Hotel has become more and more famous in the past 2 years. It is almost universally recognized as the #1 club in Fengcheng. Whenever you want to hold a high-end game, you have to come here, otherwise you will be considered not having the strength. However, this kind of fame is due to the money Vienna spent. Although Lin Ming had never been here, he knew very well how expensive it was to operate Vienna. "Sir, I will remember your promise. Please keep this to yourself and never tell anyone." Wei Jinfeng hurried forward 2 steps, lowered his posture even lower, and took Lin Ming to another more luxurious hall. Sir, tonight's banquet is divided into 2 halls. The one you just went to is full of small bosses, whose net worth is only tens of millions at most. This side is the billion-dollar club. If you don't have assets over 100 million, you don't even qualify to enter. Of course, the Vienna Hotel is ours, and I will guarantee it for you. You don't have to go through these procedures. Wei Jinfeng was talking non-stop in front, but Lin Ming was very calm. There was no need for Wei Jinfeng to introduce it. Lin Ming took a glance and found that this hall was even more luxurious. The huge dome with a starry sky, the huge oil paintings and expensive decorations everywhere make people mistakenly think they have entered a European palace. The hall is full of super rich people wearing limited edition clothes. Just taking a photo can trigger a trend of showing off their wealth on the short video platform. The 2 families that people talked about the most were the Zhu and Zhang families among the 4 major families. The Zhu family has become more and more prosperous in the past few years, and it has always been young Master Zhu who is at the helm. If we give him a few more years, I'm afraid our small temple in Fengcheng will not be able to accommodate them. The Zhang family, one of the 4 great families, is not bad either. I heard that the young man named Zhang Yiheng was admitted to a prestigious university as a master's student at a young age. He also entered the stock market at a young age and made tens of millions of dollars in less than a year. This achievement is even better than that of young Master Zhu back then. His future is limitless. In addition to the 4 major families, I noticed that the Li group is also doing well. 2 or 3 years ago, it was said that this group was on the verge of bankruptcy. However, only 2 years later, it not only alleviated the financial crisis, but also acquired hundreds of millions of assets. I've also noticed this company. The chairman seems to be Li Yusin. She graduated from a prestigious school and is beautiful. I didn't expect she has such a good business sense. There was a discussion among the crowd. Sir, I didn't let that couple in just now. Do you want me to teach them a lesson again? Wei Jinfeng listened to the rumors and spoke cautiously. Don't mention them in front of me. Lin Ming waved his hand. Yes. Wei Jinfeng hurriedly lowered his head, feeling puzzled. No matter from which perspective, Lin Ming almost beat Zhang Yiheng. He couldn't understand which stupid woman would give up the gold around her and choose a stone from the toilet. That Zhang Yiheng, at first glance, is a frivolous person and definitely not a good match. But Lin Ming didn't let him mention it, and he didn't dare to ask. Sir, it's almost time. I'll ask the boss to come down. You can take a rest first. Seeing that there was nothing else to do, Wei Jinfeng immediately said goodbye. Watching Wei Jinfeng leave, Lin Ming suddenly had a hunch that the boss behind Wei Jinfeng might have known his identity for a long time. With the passing of my grandmother, everything seemed to have changed. If possible, he would like to go back to the past. Even if he had to throw away his billions of dollars in assets, he would not hesitate at all if he could get his grandmother back. At the same time, Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng finally entered the hotel after great effort. Mr. Zhu, thank you so much. If you hadn't come forward to guarantee us, I'm afraid we would have been stopped outside. Zhang Ziheng said gratefully. Opposite him stood a tall and thin young man with a handsome face and a graceful figure. He was obviously the scion of a wealthy family. Among the 4 major families, the Zhu family ranks first and has the most special status. As the most outstanding son of this generation of the Zhu family, the young man in front of him also has the greatest face. Zhu Yiqi is a descendant of the Zhu family, one of the 4 major families. At such a young age, he is already a successful entrepreneur with a net worth of over 10 billion. Chapter 10, Fanatical Fans, Jealous. Mr. Zhu, thank you. Li Yusin looked at Zhu Yiqi with eyes as clear as water, her face flushed with shame, and an infatuated look on her face, as if she wanted to give herself to him. How can a man be so charming? He is handsome and rich, and more importantly, he comes from a wealthy family. She originally thought that Zhang Ziheng was already a child of destiny, but compared with Zhu Yiqi, he seemed not so amazing. Zhang Ziheng is a master's degree holder from Tianjin University, but Mr. Zhu is rich, and a billionaire at that. Zhu Yiqi felt Li Yusin's gaze, frowned, and took 2 steps back. This woman next to Zhang Ziheng must be sick. She has been staring at him with murderous eyes since the beginning. It's nothing. We are all children of noble families and we should support each other. The security of this Vienna hotel is really too much. Knowing that you are a member of the Zhang family, Why didn't they send you an invitation letter? Zhu Ichi said, with a hint of doubt in his eyes. I'm not sure, maybe I forgot. Zhang Ziheng's eyes flickered and he looked embarrassed when he heard that. Forgot? How could he forget? He was a child of a noble family, but he was slapped in the face in public, losing all face. If this matter were to get out, I would be too embarrassed to face anyone, let alone run for the position of patriarch. I heard that there will be a big shot from Yangjing tonight. Maybe it was a mistake in a hurry. Don't take it too seriously. I still have to meet Wang Bingning. You can take care of yourself. Zhu Ichi looked at the time and turned to leave. Everything was going on tonight. Not only were there some big shots coming from Yangjing, but also Wang Bingning, whom he had been thinking about day and night. How could he have the time to talk nonsense with Zhang Ziheng? When Li Yusin, who was originally obsessed, heard Wang Bingning's name, her face suddenly changed. Wang Bingning? Wang Bingning again? Why does this woman always haunt me? What's so good about her that makes Zhu Ichi so obsessed with her? Ziheng, I remember Wang Bingning is married, right? Li Yusin snorted and spoke loudly on purpose. Zhang Ziheng was slightly stunned and didn't react to what Li Yusin wanted to do. Why did she mention Wang Bingning for no reason? What did you say? At this moment, a faint voice sounded, like the cold frost in December. Bingning has always been single and has never even had any rumored boyfriends. How dare you spread rumors that she's married? Zhu Ichi stared at Li Yusin intently, which scared Li Yusin instantly. She got married, but she married a good-for-nothing divorced man. Li Yusin shook her hair and said proudly. As if to show off her charm, she deliberately pulled up her high-slit dress a little, revealing her sexy figure. Besides, that man happened to be the one I kicked out. If you don't believe me, Ziheng can testify. Is he telling the truth? Zhu Ichi turned his head to look at Zhang Ziheng, not even looking at Li Yusin's figure, as if he treated her as heir. Yes, how could I have forgotten about this? Feeling Li Yusin's gaze, Zhang Ziheng's eyes lit up. Brother Zhu, I saw this with my own eyes. That guy used to be the son-in-law of the Li family. He just saved the Li family once at a critical moment, and now he wants to get rid of his status as a son-in-law. He has improper thoughts about Yushin. He doesn't even know who he is. I really don't know how to say this. Wang Bingning is a big star after all. Even if she wants to find someone to marry, she doesn't need to find such a loser who is married twice, right? Stop talking. Zhu Ichi gritted his teeth and roared, with a cold light flashing in his eyes, and suddenly walked into the hall. Looking at his back, Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng looked at each other and both showed a smug smile. They were just looking to cause trouble for Lin Ming, but an assist immediately appeared. It was really like heaven helping us. On the other side, without Wei Jinfeng's disturbance, Lin Ming walked casually in the banquet hall and found that this place was not dull. In the banquet hall, the closer you are to the front, the more prestigious you are. I don't know if it's the mysterious boss's bad taste, but the closer you are to the stage, the fewer seats there are. At the very front, there is only one seat left. In order to fight for such a position, the distinguished guests present are willing to break their heads. It's like a cricket fight for the title of Invincible General. In addition to the various families competing for seats, the young masters of each family were also busy. In order to fight for a front position, he used almost all his skills to get close to Wang Bingning. My young master is a top student studying abroad and has a doctorate degree. This position should belong to my young master. Who do you think you are? My young master is worth over 100 million yuan and is a famous building materials tycoon. Lin Ming felt extremely amused watching everyone fighting for false fame. Wang Bingning hadn't shown up yet, but Lin Ming was neither anxious nor urged her. As a superstar, she must have made a lot of preparations. He found the location where Wang Bingning had sent the text message, took a glass of red wine and quietly killed time. However, as soon as he sat down, he noticed something unusual. The people around who had just been scrambling for seats suddenly seemed to be frozen, not daring to say a word. Moreover, everyone made way in a very orderly manner, with a hint of panic in their eyes. Lin Ming looked back and saw a group of strong men in suits walking in a line. Each of them held an explosion-proof baton in his hand. Under the protection of these dozen people, a tall and thin young man walked into their hall with a gloomy face. These dozen or so sturdy men all had ferocious and murderous looks on their faces, with a family emblem hanging on their chests, which was the emblem of the organizer of tonight's banquet. Isn't this Zhu Yiqi, Wang Bingning's most fanatical fan? He is here as expected. In the past few years, whenever Wang Bingning appeared, did he miss any of them? I heard that Wang Bingning is going to announce a major life decision tonight. Could it be related to him? If Wang Bingning has a partner, who else could it be except him? Who dares to compete with him? Don't forget, he is a descendant of the Zhu family, the head of the four major families. Everyone was chattering and discussing in low voices, but they didn't dare to look up at Zhu Yiqi, for fear of being recognized. The four major families in Fengcheng are all wealthy, but the Zhu family is the most difficult to mess with. On the surface, the Zhu family is just a wealthy business family, but in fact everyone knows that the Zhu family members are tainted with a sense of evil. Going back decades ago, they have been fighting for their lives in the underworld. Generally, those who live in the underworld would not have much future even if they could make a living. However, the Zhu family not only cleaned themselves up, but also acquired a huge fortune, becoming the most powerful family in Fengcheng. From the frightened eyes of the people around, one can see how terrifying the Zhu family is. But what does this have to do with Lin Ming? He sat steadily in the chair, waiting for Wang Bingning to arrive. Just then, a group of people stood in front of him, and one of them was Zhu Yiqi. Are you Lin Ming? Prick up your dog ears and listen to me clearly. Get out now, and I will pretend that I have never seen you and spare your life. Chapter 11. Why did Boss Luo show up? Everyone's eyes followed Zhu Yiqi, and when they found him coming in front of Lin Ming, they were immediately surprised. And when Zhu Yiqi finished speaking, everyone was even more stunned. Something big happened. The eldest son of the Zhu family actually took the initiative to lose his temper. Who is this kid? How could he make Zhu Yiqi angry? You talking to me? Lin Ming looked at Zhu Yiqi indifferently. You idiot, are you deaf? My young master said it very clearly. Which word did you not understand, or are you afraid to admit that you are Lin Ming? The burly man next to Zhu Yiqi roared and waved the riot baton in his hand, making a whistling sound. Kid, if you don't want to die, get out of here. Boy, you don't understand what I'm saying, but you know how to kneel down, right? Kneel down quickly and kowtow, then get out of here. Before Zhu Yiqi gave the order, his followers had already surrounded Lin Ming. A dozen people are like a dozen mountains. Zhu Yiqi had a blank expression on his face, his eyes filled with cold murderous intent. I never say a second word, but for you I can make an exception. Get out now, don't make me angry, and if you still want to live, stay away from Wang Bingning, do you understand? Zhu Yiqi looked at Lin Ming coldly, his gaze full of contempt, as if he was looking at an ant. Wang Bingning. Could it be that this guy wants to pursue Wang Bingning? No wonder Zhu Yiqi is so angry. Who is this kid? How dare he have the courage to chase Wang Bingning? As Zhu Yiqi finished speaking, the people around him were suddenly in an uproar. They pointed at Lin Ming and shook their heads, laughing at him for overestimating his own abilities. In Fengcheng, who doesn't know that Wang Bingning is Zhu Yiqi's forbidden lover? Although the two did not publicly announce their identities, in the eyes of everyone, this is a matter of time. Wherever Wang Bingning is, Zhu Yiqi will definitely appear, and he will definitely be the number one on the list. If you dare to be attracted to Wang Bingning, you will be put on the death book of the King of Hell. This is the consensus of Fengcheng people. Don't try to provoke me. You can't bear my anger. Lin Ming put down the red wine glass and looked at Zhu Yiqi helplessly. He knew that it was not so easy to enjoy the favor of a beautiful woman. Ever since Wang Bingning took him to the counter and spent a ton of money, he knew that being a fake couple wasn't that easy. Lin Ming's words scared everyone so much that their glasses fell to the ground. This kid really doesn't know how to write the word death, right? He dared to flirt with Wang Bingning, which had already angered Zhu Yiqi. Now instead of begging for mercy, he even dared to point at Zhu Yiqi's nose and provoke him. Can't bear it? Is there anyone in Fengcheng that I dare not or cannot afford to offend? Zhu Yiqi was stunned for a moment, as if he didn't expect Lin Ming to be so bold. After he realized what was happening, he laughed out of anger. He raised his hand and was about to give an order to have Lin Ming beaten out with sticks. What do you want to do? At this moment, a gloomy voice sounded. Zhu Yiqi subconsciously looked back and his expression changed slightly. At some point, a man was standing at the VIP desk on the second floor of the Vienna Hotel. In the banquet hall, men, women, young and old, all looked up at the man. After seeing the man's face clearly, everyone was instantly shocked and the whole place was boiling. Luo Jinhong, why did he come out? The boss behind the Vienna hotel, a man that even the four major families are unwilling to provoke. Tonight is really an eye-opener. The big shots that are rarely seen on weekdays have appeared tonight. In the crowd, Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng looked at the scene in astonishment. They had just returned and had no idea who Luo Jinhong was. It was only after listening to everyone's explanation that they suddenly realized. Why did you come now, instead of earlier or later? Zhang Ziheng said with gritted teeth. When Zhu Yiqi raised his hand just now, he almost raised his glass to celebrate excitedly, but he didn't expect that it was all in vain. How come Lin Ming can always turn danger into safety and there is always someone to save him? Ziheng, it's better to come now. The more people come, the more embarrassed Lin Ming will be. Li Yusin said with a gloating look. What do you mean? Zhang Ziheng was stunned for a moment. Ziheng, you don't think Wang Bingning has only one suitor, do you? Li Yusin said proudly, as if she could see through everything clearly. Boss Luo is such a mysterious person. He never shows up in public. But today he provided the venue and showed up in person. Isn't it just to attract Wang Bingning's attention? In his battle with Zhu Yiqi, Lin Ming is just a tool. It all depends on who can teach Lin Ming the worst lesson and who will be more attractive in Wang Bingning's eyes. Having said that, Li Yusin looked at Lin Ming again, with a hint of sarcasm in her eyes. Lin Ming is a loser. He is probably still feeling smug. He thinks he has kidnapped a big star, but he doesn't know that he is just a human sandbag. The more Zhang Ziheng listened, the brighter his eyes became. When Li Yusin finished speaking, he was so excited that he wanted to drink 3 glasses of wine to celebrate. Before, he was still upset about Lin Ming being able to marry Wang Bingning, but now he realized that Wang Bingning only treated Lin Ming as a tool. Let's just wait and see. Even if Lin Ming doesn't die today, he will be badly injured. He might even lose his job as a beggar. Li Yusin said proudly, looking at Lin Ming in the crowd. She felt that her decision to divorce was absolutely correct. This guy is a loser. I was so blind to choose to marry him. Fortunately, I have broadened my horizons and gained more knowledge in the past 2 years abroad, otherwise I would still be a fool and become his concubine. It's this kid indeed. Lin Ming, who was in the distance, looked at the figure on the second floor, and a trace of helplessness appeared on his face. He knew that the person behind the Vienna hotel must know him, otherwise they would not have sent the general manager to serve him, and his guess turned out to be correct. Luo Jinhong is such a cunning guy. I haven't told him any information in the past 2 years. How did he know that I was in Fengcheng? The distance is so close that if I happen to get close to him, I won't be able to hide. Zhu Yiqi, who was standing by, saw Luo Jinhong and his face changed instantly. He immediately ordered his men to retreat, straightened the wrinkles of his suit, and walked forward with excitement on his face. Others may not know, but he knows it very well. Luo Jinhong is not one of the 4 major families, but the power behind Luo Jinhong can crush the 4 major families as easily as crushing an ant. If Luo Jinhong had not come to Fengcheng with a mysterious mission, a child of a small family like him would not have the qualifications to meet Luo Jinhong even if he were given 10 more lifetimes. On the other side, Luo Jinhong walked down the stairs step by step, with a blank expression on his face, but he was extremely nervous in his heart. He came to Fengcheng without his elder brother's permission. Will his elder brother be angry? It was just a short distance, but Luo Jinhong was so scared that he was almost sweating all over. It was not until he saw Lin Ming smile that he felt relieved. Mr. Luo, how did I alarm you? Zhu Yiqi stretched out his hands and wanted to step forward and shake hands even though he was a few meters away. The next moment, Luo Jinhong pushed him aside, without even looking at him, and walked straight towards Lin Ming. Get out of the way, don't block the road. Chapter 12, Dancing on the Grave, Are You Dissatisfied with the Slowness of Death? Zhu Yiqi was pushed away by a slap and almost hit the corner of the table, but he didn't dare to get angry at all. The people around didn't care. The reason is simple. In front of Luo Jinhong, the 4 major families in Fengcheng are just a joke. Not to mention pushing, even if he just glared at him, Zhu Yiqi would be scared to death. Big. Luo Jinhong looked at Lin Ming excitedly. Just as he was about to speak, he suddenly noticed Lin Ming's expression. Sir, we are not related, did you recognize the wrong person? Lin Ming said lightly, put down the wine glass, and paused. Facing Lin Ming's slightly warning gaze, Luo Jinhong trembled instantly and reacted. The boss's identity is still confidential and cannot be disclosed. Withdraw all your people, step back 5 meters, cover your ears, and don't eavesdrop. Luo Jinhong raised his finger and pointed, almost hitting Zhu Yiqi's nose, and gave the order bluntly, as if he was talking to his own dog. Zhu Yiqi was confused, and so were everyone else. What is going on? Zhu Yiqi thought that Luo Jinhong came to reminisce about the past with him, but the look in Luo Jinhong's eyes seemed to want to eat him alive. Did I do something wrong? Zhu Yiqi was nervous and didn't dare to say anything more, so he wanted to withdraw his people immediately. When Zhu Yiqi's men saw this, they instantly became angry and did not want to let Lin Ming go. How could he let this kid go so easily when he dared to snatch the woman his young master loved? What happened to Luo Jinhong? He is just a club owner. Even if it is the best club in Fengcheng, so what? In this small piece of land in Fengcheng, who would not give face to the major families? With just one sentence, he blasted the young master 5 meters away. Have you ever asked these thugs hired by the family? You little brat, don't think that this matter is over. No one can protect you today. Several thugs looked at each other, pointed at Lin Ming with anti-explosion batons and shouted, with smug looks in their eyes. Since it is inconvenient for our young master to show up, can't we, as his subordinates, be blind? Once they deal with this guy, they will definitely get promoted and make a fortune. What did you say? Before they finished speaking, Luo Jinhong's face turned furious and he touched his lower back. Seeing this, Wei Jinfeng, who was standing by, was suddenly shocked and could not help but close his eyes. Seek death. These guys are really courting death. He saw clearly that there was a bulge on the boss's lower back, which was clearly an ashtray hidden there. Just now in the office, my husband was about to lose his temper just because he was blocked at the door. It was only after I had persuaded him that he stopped. And now, these guys are not knowing the consequences and are scolding the boss in front of him. This can no longer be said to be courting death, but rather dancing on a grave. You will be struck by lightning. Boss Luo, my young master respects you, but this kid is ignorant, so you'd better not interfere. Seeing that Zhu Yiqi didn't say anything, several younger brothers suddenly became courageous. Zhu Yiqi really wanted to teach Lin Ming a lesson, so he just kept silent and agreed. Boy, even if the King of Heaven comes today, he can't protect you. Why don't you take a piss and reflect on yourself? How dare you be tempted by Wang Bingning? Are you worthy? If I don't chop off your hand today, others will think that everyone in the Zhu family is easy to bully. Several bodyguards said this, rubbing their hands and ready to take action immediately. Luo Jinhong had been looking at Zhu Yiqi, waiting for him to speak. However, Zhu Yiqi said nothing. How could he hide his thoughts from Luo Jinhong? Brother, please wait a moment. Luo Jinhong looked at Lin Ming and opened his mouth silently. Without waiting for Lin Ming to react, he took out his ashtray and smashed it at the burly man. Even if Lin Ming wanted to dissuade him, it was too late. He could only helplessly watch Luo Jinhong go crazy. Why bother fighting with a bunch of minions? What's the point other than making yourself angry? Couldn't he do it himself? If Lin Ming was really angry, there would be no need for Luo Jinhong to take action. He alone is enough to take Zhu Yiqi's life. The reason why he was not angry was that he was just waiting for Wang Bingning. After all, Wang Bingning was the protagonist of tonight. What if she really wants to marry Zhu Yiqi? Wouldn't it be like I'm breaking up a couple? However, once the action is taken, it is done. Lin Ming picked up the wine glass again and tasted it silently. Romanée Conti is so rare, it would be a shame not to drink it. Hey, Boss Luo, why did you hit me? I'm not mad at you. You still want to offend me. The strong men were stunned and ran away with their heads in their hands, wailing. Luo Jinhong swung the ashtray and hit the other person's head, causing him to bleed. What are you guys standing there for? I don't spend any money to support you. While fighting, Luo Jinhong took the time to look back at Wei Jinfeng. Where the hell is the security guard? The boss has spoken, what are you still standing there for? Wei Jinfeng grinned and rushed forward with the security guards. Zhu Yiqi brought a dozen people and surrounded Lin Ming, thinking that they had more people and could bully Lin Ming at will. In the blink of an eye, they were surrounded by several times the number of people. Wei Jinfeng had them tied up and slapped them in the face. What's wrong with the Zhu family? You dare to cause trouble in our Vienna hotel? Are you tired of living? Our boss told you to stop, and you still dare to argue. Break his fingers with the hand you just stretched out. My boss hits you, and you still dare to hide. Put the bottle of wine in his hand and let him hit his head. If he can't break 10 bottles of red wine, you can't let him leave tonight. Witnessed by the entire upper class of Fengcheng, Zhu Yiqi's men were beaten to a bloody mess and fell to the ground wailing. However, Lin Ming, who was previously considered by them to be overestimating his own abilities and seeking his own death, did not even move a muscle. Instead, he just watched the show with a glass of red wine in his hand. In less than a few minutes, all the younger brothers brought by Zhu Yiqi were knocked to the ground. Boss Luo's move is truly extraordinary. When everyone saw this, they were immediately frightened. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng, who were far away, were also stunned. This Luo Jinhong is really powerful. He showed no mercy to Zhu Yiqi and beat him to death. This is the real top stream. Zhu Yiqi said before that there would be an important person tonight. This important person should be Mr. Luo, right? Li Yusin said excitedly. That's right. Didn't you see Zhu Yiqi didn't even dare to fart? Even after being so cruel to Zhu Yiqi, how could Lin Ming still survive? Zhang Ziheng said excitedly, his face full of anticipation. This is a real man. Li Yusin's eyes were full of stars. I really learned a lot tonight. It turns out that there are even more powerful people above the Zhu family. Ziheng, look, Lin Ming is so scared that he doesn't know what to do. He can only drink to boost his courage. I guess he's about to pee his pants. Zhang Ziheng found that Lin Ming was still drinking, and immediately said with gloating. If it were him, he would have been so scared that he would have knelt down and kowtowed, so he could not understand why Lin Ming drank. Li Yusin sneered when she heard this. This is not surprising. Lin Ming is just a waste. Apart from working silently like an ox on weekdays, how could he have seen the world? Chapter 13, Brother, why did you leave without saying goodbye? How could there be such a useless man like Lin Ming in this world? When Mr. Zhu appeared, he was so scared that he dared not move and could only pretend to say harsh words. If Mr. Luo had not appeared, he would have been knocked down long ago. If Wang Bingning hadn't used him in such a grand occasion as today, he might never have had the chance to encounter it in his life. Luo Jinhong. Zhu Yiqi looked at Luo Jinhong with a complicated expression. He never expected, and couldn't understand why Luo Jinhong got so angry. You know how to speak now, and you won't pretend to be dumb anymore. Luo Jinhong, holding the bloody ashtray, walked towards Zhu Yiqi step by step. What did I just tell you? Don't you take my words seriously? Luo Jinhong has already shown his murderous intention. If someone offends Lin Ming, no matter who the other party is, he will poke a hole in the sky. Zhu Yiqi finally felt afraid. But it's too late. Mr. Luo, that's enough. At this moment, a voice sounded, bringing Luo Jinhong back to his senses. Bang! The ashtray deviated from its direction and hit Zhu Yiqi's shoulder instead of his head. There was a click, and Zhu Yiqi covered his arm and let out a scream. Roll! Without waiting for Zhu Yiqi to howl in pain, Luo Jinhong gave the order. Zhu Yiqi nodded repeatedly, covered his injured arm, turned around and left without even looking at his men on the ground. When the people around saw this, they gasped. The changes tonight were truly unexpected. No one had expected that a descendant of the Zhu family, the head of one of the four great families, would end up like this. With Zhu Yiqi's departure, the area within a dozen meters around Lin Ming almost became a restricted area. No one dared to look, no one dared to listen. Brother, you've been gone for 2 or 3 years. I miss you so much. Luo Jinhong came in front of Lin Ming and looked at him with tears in his eyes like a child who had done something wrong. Lin Ming was speechless when he heard this. I didn't contact you, so I had my reasons. You were looking for me all over the world, was that the old guy's suggestion? Brother, you really wronged me. Luo Jinhong kept complaining. Back then you just left without saying anything but a letter. We brothers were all very worried. Not only me, but everyone has been looking for you all these years. Except Fengcheng, as long as you are still in China, we have people in any city you go to. In order to avoid being punished by Lin Ming, he betrayed the other brothers without hesitation. When they bowed their heads, the 10 brothers decided to share a fate of life and death. When Lin Ming heard this, he suddenly felt a headache. Who could have thought that after more than 10 years of kowtowing and swearing brotherhood in the dilapidated temple, not a single brother changed his mind and instead treated him as their eldest brother and searched for him all over the world. As an illegitimate child, Lin Ming had no money, no power, and no status in Yangjing, but because he had many clever ideas since he was young, he had a group of little brothers who wore open crotch pants and had runny noses around him. Before learning that he was being kicked out of Yangjing, these little kids who usually only knew how to cry and call him Big Brother behind his butt, actually cried their hearts out and insisted on running away from home with him. If those parents knew about this, they would probably think that Lin Ming was selling his child. Any one of these people has an unfathomable background. For example, Luo Jinhong in front of us, his family is the largest security group in the country, occupying almost half of the security market in Yangjing. No matter whether it is a big boss walking in the gray area or a well-known entrepreneur, they have to give some face when they hear the name of Roche Security. It is no exaggeration to say that Luo Jinhong can summon thousands of professional thugs just by blowing a whistle, and each of them is a gold medal security guard who can set up his own business. How's everyone else? Lin Ming sighed in his heart. We haven't seen each other for many years, and things and people have changed, but this feeling seems to be more precious. Everyone misses you and wants to know when you will come back. Luo Jinhong said in a low voice, looking at Lin Ming with desire in his eyes. When Lin Ming was driven out of Yangjing, they were all still young and had no say at home, but things are different now. The brothers back then have either taken charge of family affairs or have become local bosses. Even if Lin Ming is not recognized by the family, he can still gain a foothold in Yangjing with the help of the 10 brothers. Don't worry, I will go back when it's time. I will get back everything they owed me. Revenge should be taken, and accounts should be settled. No one can escape. Lin Ming said slowly, with burning anger in his eyes. The old man was from one of the top 5 wealthy families in Yangjing, but before his mother died, he didn't even have a thin quilt and starved to death or froze to death in that cold winter. He knew the old man had his own difficulties, but he could not forgive his incompetence as a husband and a father. If his grandmother had not risked her life to get him out of Yangjing, he would have died in that snowy winter. Boss, once you kowtow, we will decide to live and die with you. This time when we return to Yangjing, even if we die, we will never be separated from you again. Luo Jinhong said through gritting his teeth. You should take care of yourself first. You really did everything you could to find me. In order to maintain the reputation of the #1 club, you have spent billions on publicity in the past 2 years. Are you out of money now? Before he finished speaking, Lin Ming glared at him fiercely. Luo Jinhong felt guilty when he heard this. I didn't spend much. I just spent all the savings I've made over the years. If I really can't hold on, I can still ask the old guys for pocket money. I can still hold on for a few billion. Forget it. I'll help you with this money. I'll give you 1 billion first. Lin Ming said lightly. 1 billion, boss, I'm afraid this is not enough. US dollars. Ahem. Luo Jinhong coughed violently and his jaw almost dropped. How much? 1 billion US dollars. He knew that Lin Ming had many clever ideas, and even if he left Yangjing and didn't rely on his family, he could still be successful. When he found out that the Li Group was Lin Ming's creation, he realized that his elder brother was still the wise and cunning elder brother. However, he didn't expect that he still underestimated Lin Ming. Brother, you robbed a bank, where did you get so much money? Luo Jinhong asked in amazement. How much money can you make by robbing a bank? Do you think there are tens of billions of dollars in the bank? If you didn't rob a bank, where did you get all that money? I robbed the treasury and the printing factory. Anyway, I didn't earn the money myself. Are you satisfied? Lin Ming said with a smile. Luo Jinhong smiled awkwardly, not daring to ask any more questions, and felt relieved. The boss is still so reliable. With just a wave of his hand, he can get 10 billion US dollars. His real assets must be unimaginable. Mr. Luo, why don't you kill this guy? At this moment, a flattering voice suddenly sounded. Luo Jinhong's face suddenly darkened. Didn't he say that no one was allowed to come forward? Who would be so bold as to come up? Chapter 14, Burning Incense and 3 Cups of Wine. Should Lin Ming die? Luo Jinhong looked back. After seeing the two people's faces clearly, Luo Jinhong's expression suddenly became strange. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng were standing not far away. Do you dislike this, Mr. Lin? Luo Jinhong resumed his proud attitude and spoke calmly. Why should Mr. Lin die? Hearing this, Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng looked at each other and nodded excitedly. As expected, they were right. Luo Jinhong was preparing to torture Lin Ming. Lin Ming had no way of escaping tonight. They had just waited for a long time, but after waiting for a long time, they found that Luo Jinhong still did not take any action. They became anxious and finally mustered up the courage to come forward. He deserves to die. Mr. Luo, you may not know him very well. He is a coward and very despicable. Before he married into the Li family provided him with food and drink, but only asked him to do some work. He actually thought he had made a contribution, was ungrateful, and even wanted to share the shares. Yusin was busy with her studies and never came back. This time she came home and wanted a divorce, but he asked for 30 million right away. He really doesn't know what's good for him. Do you think he deserves death? Zhang Ziheng exaggerated the situation and turned all of Lin Ming's efforts over the past 2 or 3 years upside down. If Luo Jinhong didn't know the truth, he would probably really believe Zhang Ziheng's nonsense. You are Li Yusin, right? Do you think what he said makes sense? Luo Jinhong noticed Lin Ming's expression and said playfully. Hearing this, Lin Ming also looked at Li Yusin. He also wanted to hear whether Li Yusin would repent in front of the so-called big shot. Of course that makes sense. Li Yusin stared at Lin Ming with a sneer on her face and answered without hesitation for even a second. I am now a top student at Tianjin University. I am far superior to him in terms of academic qualifications and experience. He and I have nothing in common. If he hadn't been so persistent, I would never have married him. What does his life or death have to do with me? Upon hearing this, Luo Jinhong opened a bottle of Romanée Conti, then picked up the goblet and filled it up. But I heard that your Li family's funding chain was broken 2 years ago. If Mr. Lin hadn't paid 5 million out of his own pocket, you wouldn't even have money to go to school, let alone your company. Luo Jinhong took another high-heeled glass, pointed the mouth of the glass at the edge of the wall, and looked at Li Yusin with a smile, as if he was very satisfied with her answer. Why is Mr. Luo pouring wine? He feels very satisfied with his answer. Does he want to buy himself a drink? Li Yusin's eyes lit up, and she answered impatiently as she imagined the wonderful feeling of hugging Luo Jinhong's thighs. Mr. Luo, don't listen to his boasting. My Li Group has over 100 million in assets. If there is a financial crisis, what use will his 5 million be? As for the good development of my company in the past 2 years, it's because our Li family has caught up with the trend. We can still make so much money without him. Li Yusin said shamelessly, looking at Lin Ming with a sneer, her eyes full of disgust. So that's how it is. Luo Jinhong said with a smile, poured the red wine into the glass, filled the second glass, took out the third glass, and asked the last question at the same time. But you still haven't answered my question. 2 years ago, since you agreed to marry Lin Ming, why did you mess around outside and never think about maintaining your relationship as husband and wife? Hearing this, Li Yusin leaned on Zhang Ziheng, her face full of sweetness. Mr. Luo, how can you blame me for this? I have been to a wider world and met more outstanding people. How could I still be interested in Lin Ming? Moreover, in the past 2 years, Ziheng has not only helped me academically, but also in my career. How can I not be attracted to him? As for Lin Ming, I can only say that I was too young at the time and was bewitched by his sweet words. Besides, didn't I also compensate him with 5 million? He ate and drank for free at our house for 2 or 3 years, and I never asked him for the money. Why does he blame me? I just made a wrong choice once. Don't I have the right to pursue happiness in life a second time? As she finished speaking, Luo Jinhong had already poured the third glass of wine. Mr. Luo, are you going to treat us to these 3 glasses of wine? Li Yusin asked impatiently. Luo Jinhong's smile grew wider. He slowly raised his glass and handed it to Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng personally. That's right. These 2 glasses of wine, one for each of you. I'll toast to you. Luo Jinhong said with a smile. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng were extremely excited. Holding their wine glasses, they looked at everyone with excitement, especially at Lin Ming, and then drank them all in one gulp. They were so excited that they didn't notice how strange the way Luo Jinhong held the wine was, nor did they see the fear and sadness in Wei Jinfeng's eyes. Luo Jinhong toasted, lowered himself by 3 inches, held the cup with both hands, and then drank it all in one gulp. Everyone present saw this scene, and for some reason, they felt it was a bit strange. Luo Jinhong was clearly drinking, but the way he held the wine glass looked like he was burning incense. It was as if what he was holding in his hand was not wine, but 3 incense sticks burning in front of a funeral hall. Only Wei Jinfeng knows the true meaning of this posture. Whenever the boss is ready to kill, he will pour 3 glasses of wine, which are also the last 3 chances for the opponent. 1 glass of wine for each question. If all 3 glasses are full, it means that you have answered all 3 questions incorrectly and there is no chance of survival. However, the 3 answers given by Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng ended their last chance of survival. Mr. Luo, the wine is finished. When are you going to start? Zhang Ziheng said excitedly, looking at Lin Ming expectantly, wanting to witness him being humiliated in public. I'm a little tired. Luo Jinhong said lightly, without even looking at Zhang Ziheng, and left. However, before leaving, he patted Wei Jinfeng on the shoulder 3 times. I leave it to you, don't let me down. Wei Jinfeng nodded and silently saw Luo Jinhong off. Mr. Luo, aren't you going to do anything? Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng didn't know that a disaster was about to happen. They looked at each other's backs in astonishment, completely confused. Everyone, please take your seats. Miss Wan is ready and will be here any minute. Wei Jinfeng announced, also ignoring Zhang Ziheng and the other man, and invited Lin Ming to take a seat. Lin Ming seemed to be an outsider. Lin Ming, don't be too proud too soon. No matter what, you are dead today. Zhang Ziheng looked at Lin Ming fiercely and said through gritted teeth. He didn't know why Luo Jinhong left, but it didn't matter. Even if Luo Jinhong doesn't take action, he will do it after tonight's business is done. You don't have much time, eat whatever you want and drink whatever you want. Lin Ming looked at Zhang Ziheng indifferently, still with that indifferent look, too lazy to get angry. Chapter 15. What is his educational background? Is he qualified to compete with me? Why didn't Mr. Luo take action just now? Did he want to let Lin Ming go? After returning to the Zhang family's area, Zhang Yiheng took a big gulp of wine and said indignantly. Yiheng, who the hell is Lin Ming? Is he worthy of being dealt with by Mr. Luo himself? Li Yusin said comfortingly, turning back to look in the direction of Lin Ming with a sneer on her lips. I saw it clearly just now. Before leaving, Mr. Luo patted manager Wei on the shoulder. Isn't the meaning obvious? Speaking of this, Li Yusin felt a little emotional again. Lin Ming has been such a failure in his life that he couldn't even die without Mr. Luo's help. Fortunately, I divorced him. When I get the position of patriarch, even Mr. Luo will have to be polite to me. Zhang Yiheng suddenly hugged Li Yusin's slender waist with a proud look on his face. Speaking of this, Li Yusin's eyes lit up. Yiheng, the 4 major families are all here tonight, you must fight hard and take the position of family head. As she spoke, Li Yusin put on some more lipstick and deliberately adjusted the angle of her high-slit dress to make herself look more sexy and charming. After tonight, Zhang Yiheng will be the master of the Zhang family, and she will be a socialite, so she must not lose her socialite demeanor. Don't worry, even Mr. Luo came to toast me, who would dare not give me face. Zhang Yiheng said that in Lushan's claws were ready to move. You still have face. Li Yusin said with admiration, as if she saw herself becoming the number 1 socialite in Fengcheng. At this moment, a middle-aged man walked down the aisle next to him. You are Miss Li, right? Is this Mr. Zhang next to you? The middle-aged man took a special look at the 2 of them and stopped beside them. Who are you? The chairman of the Fei Group, Fei Shinchan. The man pulled out a business card. Boss Fei, it's you? Are you here to attend the banquet too? Li Yusin exclaimed and quickly stood up. Fei Shinchan is the largest supplier in Fengcheng, controlling more than 70% of the building materials market and is the most important partner of the Li family. 2 years ago, the Li family was in a bankruptcy crisis. Lin Ming used some unknown method, but in just 3 days he impressed this popular boss in Fengcheng, and won big orders one after another, helping the Li family alleviate the crisis. Although Li Yusin had been having a great time outside for the past 2 years and had never taken care of the company's business, she had heard of Boss Fei. To put it bluntly, the reason why the Li family was able to revive and join the Billion Yuan Club is precisely because of its good cooperative relationship with Fei Shinchan. Li Yusin, I remember you are Mr. Lin's wife, why are you lying in someone else's arms? Li Yusin took the initiative to shake hands, but Fei Shinchan didn't even look at her. Instead, he asked back with a cold face. As soon as these words were spoken, several more gazes appeared nearby, looking at Li Yusin with strange expressions. A married man is openly hugging and kissing other men. Isn't this too indecent? Boss Fei, aren't you meddling too much? Li Yusin's face changed and she said with some dissatisfaction. Lin Ming has been married to her for 2 years and has never dared to ask about her private affairs. Why should Fei Xinchang interfere? Boss Fei, I have just finished my studies at Tianjin University. From now on, the Li Group will be officially managed by me. I am planning to host a private dinner for you. Do you think you have time? Li Yusin said with a smile, wanting to extend an olive branch, but Fei Xinchang interrupted her directly. The Li Group grew stronger under Mr. Lin, and I decided to cooperate with him because I admire him. If you divorce Mr. Lin, I will terminate the contract directly. What did you say? Hearing this, Li Yusin's face changed instantly. Boss Fei, is Lin Ming that important? Does the fact that my Li Group has grown to where it is today and become a member of the billion-dollar club have anything to do with him? Li Yusin said excitedly, gritting her teeth in hatred. Whether Mr. Lin is important or not, I have seen it clearly in the past 2 years. I don't need you to remind me. Fei Xinchang said calmly, not caring about Li Yusin's childish flirtatious behavior, and took out the documents on the spot. Besides, I'm not here to negotiate with you, but to inform you. From now on, you have been kicked out of Fengcheng supply chain. After saying that, Fei Xinchang threw the document directly at Li Yusin's face and turned away. It wasn't until the document hit her face that Li Yusin finally panicked. If kicked out of the supply chain, the Li family's future will be over. Boss Fei, please wait a minute, there must be some misunderstanding here. Li Yusin exclaimed and grabbed Fei Xinchang's hand hard. It is true that I am divorced from Lin Ming, but what does this have to do with the group? I am a top student from Tianjin University. If I personally manage the group, it will definitely be better than Lin Ming's. Education? Do you think that just because you have a higher education, you must be more capable than Mr. Lin? Fei Xinchang frowned, turned to look at Li Yusin, and there was finally a hint of emotion in his eyes, but it was full of ridicule. Of course, I'm a top student at Tianjin University, one of the top 10 universities in the country. Who wouldn't say I'm a rare talent? When it comes to academic qualifications, Li Yusin suddenly gained some confidence. The 2 years at Tianjin University were the proudest experiences of her life. In the past 2 years, she has been talking freely and extensively at school. Among the cases she studied, which one was not a large group with a value of hundreds of billions or trillions of dollars? Lin Ming struggled for 2 years before he could barely enter the billion-yuan club. It was truly a disgrace. What do you think my education level is? Fei Xinchang asked. I don't know, but since you can control the entire Fengcheng supply chain, you must be an alumnus of a prestigious school, right? Li Yusin complimented him, but she saw a man walking out from behind Fei Xinchang with an Ivy League alumni badge on his chest. When Li Yusin saw this thing, she exclaimed and bent her back a little. This is an Ivy League school. The value of its academic qualifications is dozens of times higher than that of Tianjin University. Looking around the world, there are very few such schools. You're right about one thing. My dad is indeed an alumnus of a prestigious school, but he earned this status by donating money. His actual education level is only elementary school. The man looked at Li Yusin indifferently, his eyes full of disgust. This one sentence not only shocked Li Yusin, but also attracted the attention of people around, but everyone's reaction was indifferent. When doing business, what matters is your insight into the market and your foresight into technology. Academic qualifications are useful, but not particularly useful. To be honest, it was difficult for them to understand Li Yusin's mentality. The founder of the Li Group is not Li Yusin, but this Mr. Lin. Based on this silly girl's performance, do you think she is qualified to impress Boss Fei? You are so old, but you still only care about education. If education is really so useful, why are there so many highly educated people who can't find jobs in the market? Who is she discussing her academic qualifications in front of? She even dares to discuss academic qualifications in front of Boss Fei. Doesn't she know that Boss Fei is a typical gangster who doesn't care about his background? Everyone was talking about it, pointing at Li Yusin and making sarcastic remarks, which made Li Yusin blush. Chapter 16. Is the value of Tianjin University very high? Boss Fei, I admit that I was wrong. I can do business well without academic qualifications, but this does not mean that Lin Ming is good. I must be better than him, Li Yusin said while gritting her teeth. Fei Xinchang looked at Li Yusin very calmly. From beginning to end, he was too lazy to argue or persuade Li Yusin. A few minutes ago, after he learned about Mr. Lin's condition from Wei Jinfeng, he knew that the Li group was doomed. This Li Yusin is such a stupid woman that she doesn't even realize it. The greatest contributor to the Li group and also its only treasure was handed away by this woman. If he had a daughter, he would even want to give out all his property as a dowry and make Lin Ming his son-in-law. Boss Fei, whether academic qualifications are useful or not, we can talk to Lin Ming later. But you can't deny that Lin Ming is a waste compared to me. Right? At this moment, a voice sounded beside him. It was Zhang Yiheng. He held Li Yusin in his arms and deliberately showed the Zhang family badge on his chest. I am a master's degree holder from Tianjin University, and I am also the most successful young man of this generation in the Zhang family. If nothing goes wrong, after tonight, I will even be the head of the Zhang family. Zhang Yiheng said proudly, wanting to see Fei Xinchang's shocked expression, but found that Fei Xinchang still had a calm face. Doesn't this old guy know how powerful the four major families are? Or do you still think he is just talking nonsense and has no academic qualifications? Yusin, take out the photos of our alumni association and let Boss Fei open his eyes. Zhang Yiheng said sarcastically. No need for that. What use can a master's degree from Tianjin University be? Before Li Yusin could turn on her phone, the young man next to Fei Xinchang interrupted them. I have something even more eye-opening for you. As he spoke, the young man turned on his mobile phone and connected it to the large screen in front of him. In an instant, a journal report suddenly appeared on the screen on one wall of the banquet hall, and next to it was a patented invention. What is this? The screen is full of English letters and calculation formulas. How come I can't understand a single word? This report seems to be from the Nature Academic Journal? The most authoritative academic journal in the world. That's absolutely right. My advisor was awarded the title of professor because he published 3 papers in a sub-journal. But this doesn't seem to be a sub-journal, right? Nonsense, this is of course not a sub-journal. Didn't you see the number on the upper left corner? This is the main issue of Nature magazine. Who on earth published this paper? With this paper, you can walk around any famous university in the country and easily get the title of full professor. There was an uproar in the banquet hall, and everyone was shocked and started discussing the situation. Is this thesis better than the master's degree from Tianjin University? Suddenly someone asked, looking at the young man with curiosity in his eyes. The young man smiled faintly when he heard this. I really don't know how to answer this gentleman's question. It's like asking Zhang Ergu and Einstein, who has greater academic achievements. I've heard of Einstein. He seems to be a very good scientist. Who is Zhang Ergu? I don't know who Zhang Ergu is, so he is worthless in the scientific community, and no one cares who he is, just like the so-called master's degree from Tianjin University, which is useless. The young man said with a smile. If Zhang Ergu is useless, doesn't that mean Zhang Yiheng is useless? Everyone's expressions suddenly became extremely strange, and then they burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Compared to Nature magazine, my education is of course useless, but does this have anything to do with Lin Ming? Does it have anything to do with you? Zhang Yiheng said angrily. Of course it is related. Didn't you see the signature on the lower right corner of the paper? The first author of this paper is Mr. Lin, and I, as an experimental participant, am the second author. The young man's words immediately caused another uproar. Before everyone could react, the young man took out another picture, which shocked everyone even more. 2 months ago, your paper was officially selected as the Journal of the Year. Major universities at home and abroad have announced that if you are willing, you can directly become the director of teaching. There is no need for assessment or approval. You will have more than 1 billion in research and development funds after you start working. Everyone at the scene stood up and looked at the young man sitting in the front row. Lin Ming put down his wine glass, stared blankly at the big screen, then turned back to look at the young man in the crowd, his face full of speechlessness. Why is it this guy? Li Yusin, your academic qualifications are worthless in front of Mr. Li, and as for your identity, you are even more ridiculous. The young man snorted coldly and looked at Li Yusin and Zhang Yiheng with a mocking expression. Your Zhang family is indeed one of the 4 major families, but it is only in Fengcheng. Can it be more famous than Wang Bingning? You think your husband is worthless, but you are blind, which just happened to be a good opportunity for Miss Wang. You just got divorced, and Miss Wang immediately chose to get married. Miss Wang is so many times smarter than you. Shut up. Shut up. You shut up. Li Yusin screamed and trembled with anger. Lin Ming is still publishing papers. I'm blind to give up on him? God knows where you got this crappy paper from. What's the big deal about a crappy manuscript? You can become a professor at any school. Do you think I believe it? Everyone can write a crappy paper. My teacher can write hundreds of papers a year, so why haven't I seen him become a professor? Lin Ming probably doesn't even know which way the gate of our Jindar University faces, and he still wants to write an academic journal that will shock the world. Do you take me for a fool? Li Yusin's ridicule not only failed to gain everyone's approval, but instead exposed the authenticity of her own academic qualifications, which instantly caused a round of ridicule. Hundreds of papers are published every year. They are the kind of quack journals that can be published for a few hundred yuan. Are they worse than those published by street vendors? Oh my God, how can a teacher dare to publish in such a journal? Publishing in such a journal is simply a discredit to one's academic career. Isn't this ruining one's future? Students taught by such teachers are also useless. What Boss Fei said is true. Just looking at a degree really doesn't mean anything. School is a place to learn skills. If the students who graduate are only arrogant, it's really laughable. Li Yusin was so angry that she was shaking all over and wished she could tear everyone's mouths off. The thing she was most proud of in the past 2 years was that she received her graduation certificate from Tianjin University. However, she was told that it was worthless. This was simply outrageous. Yiheng, please help me. Li Yusin looked at Zhang Yiheng with tears in her eyes, thinking she had grabbed a life-saving straw, but Zhang Yiheng looked at her as if he had seen a ghost, and even took a few steps back, as if he wanted to draw a clear line between them. Stay away from me and pretend you don't know me. Chapter 17, A Talented Disciple. Li Yusin felt as if struck by lightning and looked at Zhang Ziheng in disbelief. Ziheng, what did you say? Do you dislike me? Zhang Yiheng's expression changed slightly, thinking to himself that this was not good. How could he have exposed his true thoughts? I'm not disliking you. I still need to win over the big shots from other families tonight, so I can't leave a bad impression. You're already in the middle of a storm, and it's impossible to explain yourself in such a short time. Zhang Yiheng quickly changed his tone and wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. I'll explain it to you when I become the head of the family. We can even spend money to buy a few nature journal papers. Then everything will be explained clearly, right? Although Li Yusin is stupid, she is still somewhat charming, and he hasn't had enough fun with her. Moreover, such a stupid woman is in control of a group worth hundreds of millions of yuan. It's like a stupid chicken laying golden eggs. Which weasel wouldn't want it? Ziheng, I know you treat me best, I will listen to you in everything. Li Yusin said with emotion, turned around and looked at the young man again, only to see that Fei Xinchang and the young man had already sat next to Lin Ming. This must be Lin Ming's doing. He is jealous that I got into a good university, so he deliberately spread rumors to destroy the value of my academic qualifications. Li Yusin gritted her teeth and said, if looks could kill, Lin Ming would have been rotten and festering due to her curse. Don't worry, Wang Bingning will be out soon, let's give Lin Ming a big gift together. Zhang Yiheng said resentfully. Li Yusin nodded vigorously. Tonight, they were supposed to shine and become the focus of everyone's attention, but because of Lin Ming, they were all humiliated and felt embarrassed. On the other side, their whole audience was already talking about what the young man said. Wang Bingning is married? Her husband is this guy. What is his merit? Haven't you heard? Their Li group was able to join the billion-dollar club thanks to her, and also has the honor of being published in a world-renowned journal. It has both fame and fortune, so isn't it worthy of Wang Bingning? The Li group belongs to Li Yusin. Lin Ming was kicked out. Isn't he just a poor boy? No matter how impressive his academic status is, can it still be used to make a living? I'm afraid he is not worthy of Wang Bingning. Wang Bingning is where he is today, of course, because of his outstanding acting skills, but if it weren't for the Zhu family's support, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to reach his current position. Can Zhu Ichi let this kid go? The discussion among the people was like a storm. Lin Ming looked at the young man in front of him helplessly. Didn't I tell you? Just treat that paper as a token of my gratitude to your father for helping me out when I was in trouble. You don't have to list me as the first author. I don't plan to stay in the academic circle, so what's the point of having this little fame? Lin Ming said, feeling very headache. The boy in front of him is Fei Ruhuang, the only son of Fei Shinchan. 2 years ago, the Li Group was on the verge of bankruptcy. All its businesses were in tatters and had to be cut off to survive. Because there was no new business and no investment, Lin Ming boldly wrote a business plan and went door to door looking for big bosses to ask for investment. For 3 consecutive days, Lin Ming applied to more than 20 people, but all his efforts fell on deaf ears. Just when he was planning to find another way, Fei Shinchan called him and offered to give him a chance. All things are difficult at the beginning. A poor boy with no money and power, and carrying the rotten sore of the Li Group, anyone would think that Lin Ming is a swindler, but Fei Shinchan is willing to believe him and even took the initiative to provide him with tens of millions of funds. Lin Ming was grateful for this favor, so when he heard that Fei Ruhuang had academic difficulties, he helped him complete a paper. However, he didn't expect that this guy was stubborn and didn't listen to him at all, and still wrote him as the first author. Teacher, I can do everything in my life except lying. Besides, the most important quality in academics is honesty. Even if you blame me, I won't change. Fei Ruhuang said while gritting his teeth, ready to be taught a lesson by Lin Ming, but what greeted him was a glass of wine. You are already a famous professor now. Can I still beat you like I did when we were tutoring? Wouldn't I be accused of disrespecting intellectuals? Lin Ming patted Fei Ruhuang's shoulder with amusement and noticed Fei Shinchan's gaze. Sir, it was Wei Jinfeng who told me about the severance of cooperation with the Li family. Fei Shinchan took the initiative to speak, without waiting for Lin Ming to ask. Luo Jinhong sentenced Li Yusen and Zhang Ziheng to death, but Wei Jinfeng obviously did not intend to let them go so easily. After receiving the order from his boss, his first step was not to make a earth-shattering move. Instead, he sent a message to several partners of the Li Group. Their message was simple, just one sentence. Mr. Lin and Li Yusen are divorced. It was this sentence that made Fei Shinchan cancel the cooperation plan. Lin Ming was stunned for a moment, then nodded. Thank you for your help. I have to ask you to do this kind of household chores yourself. Mr. Lin, what are you talking about? It's a good thing for you to get rid of this stupid woman. I heard that Wang Bingning has married you. Fei Shinchan said with a smile, with a hint of mockery in his eyes. Even people my age have heard of Wang Bingning. It is said that she has a fan club of old dads, which is full of old men in their 50s and 60s who love her like a daughter. You are really a public rival now. The charm of this great star Wang is so attractive that it can attract everyone, regardless of gender, age or status. Lin Ming couldn't stand such flattery and quickly waved his hands. I'm just a scapegoat, I can't explain it to you clearly. Lin Ming wanted to explain, but found that he couldn't explain it clearly. Let him admit that this marriage is a fake marriage? Even though he was a peaceful person and didn't care about anything, he couldn't help feeling a little embarrassed. Sir, now that you have left the Li Group, what are your plans for the future? Wang Bingning had not yet appeared, and no one else dared to sit in the VIP seats at the front except Fei Shinchan and Lin Ming. Fei Shinchan asked just to make conversation. I haven't decided yet. Maybe I can go to Yangjing after taking a break for a while. After hearing this, Lin Ming was silent for a moment and suddenly said. When Fei Shinchan heard this, his eyes suddenly lit up. Sir, are you going to Yangjing to invest? Can you take me with you? Is returning to the family considered an investment? Lin Ming thought about it silently in his heart, then nodded ambiguously. Aren't you afraid that I'll run away with the money? Lin Ming said with a smile. Without the Li family, I will be completely alone in Fengcheng. For someone like you, money is the most worthless thing. Fei Shinchan said, with a look of shrewd pride on his weathered old face. At this moment, a loud noise suddenly broke out outside the Vienna Hotel. The shrill screams and cheers could still be heard clearly even through the thick floor-to-ceiling windows. Wang Bingning, I love you. Wang Bingning, please sign for me. Because of Wang Bingning's appearance, the Vienna Hotel was already blocked by crowds. Those who can enter the banquet hall are all wealthy people. Even the most ordinary hall tickets are not affordable for ordinary people. But for the vast majority of movie fans, this condition does not exist at all, but they still gathered outside the hotel lobby, unwilling to leave. Chapter 18, Take 100 million and get out. The Vienna Hotel was bustling with noise. Upon hearing that Wang Bingning had appeared, the wealthy people all stood up to greet her with great enthusiasm. Wang Bingning is not only a superstar with infinite charm, but also a wealthy person with a strong background and considerable net worth. All the major families present wanted to seize the opportunity to cooperate with Wang Bingning. Wang Bingning is out. A cry of surprise was heard, and everyone was inexplicably excited. Wang Bingning was wearing a gorgeous evening dress, like the brightest moon tonight, attracting countless eyes. The first thing Wang Bingning did after entering the door was to look for Lin Ming, as if she was worried that Lin Ming could not get through the door. When Wang Bingning saw Lin Ming sitting in the first row, her frown finally relaxed. "You and your son should have some tea first. I'll be over." Lin Ming smiled, stood up and walked forward. "Wherever the gentleman goes, you follow him." Fei Xinchan's heart moved and he spoke immediately. There is no way to snatch Lin Ming to be the son-in-law, but at least let his son hold onto Lin Ming's thigh. Fei Ruhuang nodded vigorously and followed Lin Ming closely, not leaving his side for a moment. The two of them crossed the corridor and walked very quickly, but they were still a step slow. There were fans of all ages surrounding them in front of them, almost 3 layers inside and 3 layers outside, and Lin Ming couldn't squeeze in at all. Just then, a sinister voice sounded. "Lin Ming." Before he finished speaking, a man stood in front of Lin Ming. It was Zhu Yiqi, the eldest son of the Zhu family who had been driven away earlier. "What can I do for you?" Lin Ming said. Fei Ruhuang was shocked and hurried to rush to Lin Ming to protect him. Lin Ming held Fei Ruhuang down and looked at Zhu Yiqi indifferently. "Teacher, this is the Zhu family's territory after all. What if he wants to harm you?" "The Zhu family can't do anything to me." Lin Ming looked at Zhu Yiqi calmly, knowing that he had come with bad intentions, but he didn't care at all. Hearing this, Zhu Yiqi almost laughed out of anger. He felt that Lin Ming's tone was too arrogant, but he also looked up to Lin Ming. "I have to admit that you are still somewhat manly. At least you don't hide behind others like a coward," Zhu Yiqi said proudly. The eldest son of the Zhu family, even though he had just lost a little face, was still arrogant and looked down on others. "What on earth do you want?" Lin Ming frowned. Wang Bingning wouldn't spend too much time dealing with fans, as he had no interest in playing the rich young man's house game with Zhu Yiqi. "Here is 100 million. Sign this contract and the money will be yours." Seeing that Lin Ming didn't want to say more, Zhu Yiqi was too lazy to talk more and directly took out the contract. The contract was crude and simple, obviously put together on the spur of the moment, and still had a slight odor of printing ink. 100 million, just to buy this paper of mine. Lin Ming glanced at the documents and was slightly surprised. The paper he wrote for Fei Ruhuang was indeed very influential, but research funding and buyout are two different things. How could Zhu Yiqi actually spend 100 million to buy out? Even if the Zhu family is the leader of the 4 major families in Fengcheng, this amount of money is not a small sum. You know, although Fei Ruhuang said that with this patent he can get a job in any major university and receive 1 billion yuan in research and development funding, this money is actually the university's property. The research leader is qualified to spend it but not to keep it. Research funds are special subsidies. All costs are borne by the company or enterprise, but the results must also be shared with the enterprise. When it comes to personal buyout, the money actually goes into the individual's account. This research is worth 1 billion yuan, but if it is just a buyout, I'm afraid it won't even sell for 20 million. This is 100 million. I'm afraid he has never seen so much money in his life. Zhu Yiqi looked at Lin Ming with contempt. He had just found out that Lin Ming was kicked out of the Li family and only got 5 million in total. What do you think? Since young Master Zhu is so generous, I naturally have nothing to say. Lin Ming signed the document. Zhu Yiqi smiled complacently. Sure enough, this kid couldn't resist the temptation of 100 million. I don't care whether the rumors about the Li family's son-in-law are true or not. You must stay away from Bingning right now. Get out of the club and get out of Fengcheng. Do you hear me? Zhu Yiqi said in a cold voice, revealing a hint of a winner's smile. However, the next moment, the smile on Zhu Yiqi's face froze. Lin Ming got the card and without even looking at it, he handed it directly to Fei Ruhuang. You are still short of research funds, right? This is sponsored by young Master Zhu for free. You are using 100 million just to buy a useless patent. Why don't you thank young Master Zhu right away? Fei Ruhuang immediately put the card into his arms. Mr. Zhu, thank you for your support. When my research yields results, I will definitely thank you in the newspaper. With just one sentence, Ju Ichi was almost vomiting blood. What the hell? Patent for leather cover? Are there more patents of this kind? The most important thing is, he gave 100 million and he only deserves a special thank you. Mr. Lin, how dare you tease me? Ju Ichi got angry and was about to take action immediately. What? You want to deny your debt just because you can't afford to play? Wang Bingning is watching right next to you, aren't you afraid of being embarrassed? Lin Ming said lightly. With just one sentence, Ju Ichi was immediately frozen. Don't be happy too soon. Tonight is Bingning's banquet, so it's not convenient for me to take action. But I will take revenge sooner or later. Ju Ichi thought for a moment, gritted his teeth and endured it temporarily. Looking at his departing back, Fei Ruhuang snorted in annoyance. Sir, the Ju family is nothing more than that. The so-called for major families are just boasted by outsiders. When there is no tiger in the mountain, the monkey will be king. To deal with Ju Ichi, there is no need to use the master, he can do it alone. Although the Fei family is not among the four major families and does not show its presence, dealing with construction sites and factories all day long, it controls the supply chain, which is equivalent to controlling the pricing power and market dominance. As long as they want, the entire upstream and downstream industries in Fengcheng will be in chaos. You are a scholar after all, can't you have a little scholarly bearing? Lin Ming said unhappily and turned back to his seat. Competing for a position with star chasers is harder than climbing to the sky, and Lin Ming is not that crazy. Anyway, there is only one way to get on stage, and Wang Bingning will come over sooner or later, so why doesn't he sit down and wait for the opportunity? On the other side, Ju Ichi entered the box on the second floor and found the clan leader and the elders of the family. Don't worry and do it boldly. You must capture Wang Bingning tonight. The family fully supports you. The head of the Ju family said. When Ju Ichi heard this, he immediately looked confident. Ju Ichi walked to the front of the crowd with a proud look on his face. Ever since Wang Bingning made her debut, he had discovered the charm of this woman and tried every means to pursue her, but she never responded. But that doesn't work today, he has the full support of his family. Even if Luo Jinhong tried to stop him, he would never be able to achieve his goal. Wang Bingning is his Achilles heel, no one can snatch Wang Bingning away from him. Under the spotlight, Wang Bingning's diamond dress sparkled, making her look like a princess walking out of a crystal palace. Everyone stepped forward, but immediately parted ways, leaving the best position to Ju Ichi. Chapter 19 Bingning, how is he better than me? Bingning, we have been waiting for you for a long time. Ju Ichi held a bouquet of hundreds of roses and looked at Wang Bingning obsessively, unable to move his eyes away. However, Wang Bingning did not react at all. Thank you for your hard work, women are more troublesome. Wang Bingning said lightly. Although she had a charming smile on her face, her focus was not on Ju Ichi. It seemed that there was something more charming than the rose in his hand. Bingning, everyone is waiting anxiously, can I take you there? Ju Ichi said with a smile, and without waiting for Wang Bingning to agree, he wanted to grab Wang Bingning's hand and pull Wang Bingning onto the stage. At this moment, Wang Bingning's eyes lit up and she saw Lin Ming in the VIP seat. Is it time for me to take action? Facing Wang Bingning's gaze, Lin Ming stood up helplessly. Everyone, have you heard? In the latest Huruan wealth list, Wang Bingning's influence value has already entered the top 10. Her potential for future development is limitless. Ju Ichi is not bad either. He has already made it into the top 10 on the list of wealthy men under the age of 30. I'm afraid that in 2 years, we will be squeezed out by them. A golden boy and a beautiful girl, a match made in heaven. One is rich, the other famous, this couple is really enviable. From time to time, exclamations were heard among the crowd. Behind Wang Bingning, a middle-aged woman was smiling from ear to ear, especially when she was looking at Ju Ichi, she looked extremely satisfied. Miss, why are you so distant? Come closer to Mr. Ju. Mr. Ju, why do you have to be so formal? You don't have to hold her hand, just hug Bingning's waist. We're going to be in a relationship soon, why are you still so shy, Mr. Ju? With your support over the years, it won't be a big deal even if we drink a toast together. The woman said flatteringly, her face full of desire for wealth and power. As she spoke, the woman found that Wang Bingning was indifferent, and a hint of dissatisfaction flashed in her eyes. Wang Bingning seemed not to hear his words and did not move. The middle-aged woman suddenly became anxious and leaned close to Wang Bingning's ear. Bingning, did you hear what I said? You little bitch, I'm your manager, don't be so mad at me right now. Having a little scandal with Zhu Ichi will help your career. Besides, Zhu Ichi is a handsome guy, so what's wrong with giving him some sweet treats? Do you know how many women want to sleep with him? Aunt, I only let you be my agent for my father's sake. If you dare to say anything nonsense again, I will fire you. Wang Bingning still maintained her calm pace, her lips slightly opened, but the words she said scared the middle-aged woman. Little bitch, why are you so arrogant? What's wrong with being a star? He's just an actor. Do you really think I want to be this agent? Fei Ruhuang's face was stiff and he was filled with resentment. In the 2 years that she has been Wang Bingning's agent, she has arranged countless dinner parties. As long as Wang Bingning pleases a little, she can get tens of millions in kickbacks. But this little girl is stubborn and has never agreed once. Those local rich men, the big fat pigs, are ugly and old, so it's fine if they are looked down upon, but why can't Zhu Ichi be looked down upon too? Zhu Ichi is so rich, but he can't understand this girl's words. What is he looking for? Is he really looking for beggar? Auntie Wang, my feelings for Wang Bingning are clear to all. I believe I will be able to impress him one day. You don't need to rush me. Zhu Ichi had an almost perfect smile on his face and looked at Wang Bingning tenderly, which immediately attracted screams from the women around him. You little bastard, look at how obsessed the woman next to you is. You still don't agree to such a good offer. Do you want to drive me crazy? The middle-aged woman urged. As long as this good thing can be accomplished, with Zhu Ichi and the Zhu family's wealth, how could he miss out on a red envelope? No matter what the middle-aged woman said, the expression on Wang Bingning's face never changed, and her eyes were fixed on one person. Lin Ming. To walk from the aisle to the stage, one must pass by the VIP seats where Lin Ming is. When they reached the stairs, Wang Bingning broke free from Zhu Ichi's hand. The smile on Zhu Ichi's face froze. Bingning, what's wrong with you? According to his plan, as soon as Wang Bingning came on stage, he would launch a proposal. He has waited for this day for 3 full years and can't wait any longer. In the banquet hall, hundreds of eyes were watching at the same time. Bingning, what are you standing there for? Everyone is waiting for you to go on stage, hurry over. Urged. Under the soft light, Wang Bingning's expression was extremely calm. She glanced at every pair of eyes present and then pushed Zhu Ichi away. Everyone looked shocked. In the VIP box on the second floor, a man's face darkened. What does Wang Bingning want to do? Does he have objections to our arrangement and doesn't want to marry my son? The middle-aged man said coldly. Master, don't worry. Although Wang Bingning has gained some fame in the past few years, what's the use of fame if it can't be realized? Without our Zhu family, his fame is just a burden. More than 70% of the commercial contracts of his entertainment company are realized through our Zhu family, and more than 90% of the employees are under our control. Don't look at him as famous, but he is just a ragdoll cat raised in our family. No matter how beautiful a cat looks, can it rebel against its owner? Listening to the good response received, the middle-aged man nodded silently. He was about to speak when he saw Wang Bingning suddenly push Zhu Ichi away and walk to the VIP seat next to him. The young man was tall and slender, and his clothes were clean, and although they were not extravagant, he had an air of indescribable self-confidence. When everyone saw clearly, they exclaimed in surprise. But the middle-aged man's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. Wang Bingning, you are crazy, what are you doing? Zhu Ichi exclaimed. Zhu Ichi was shocked and the Zhu family was furious. Further away, Li Yusin and Zhang Yiheng were extremely surprised. Wang Bingning is really not afraid of death. She dares to be intimate with Lin Ming in person. Isn't Lin Ming dead now? Wang Bingning, with a professional smile on her face, suddenly took a few steps forward and looked at Lin Ming with tenderness in her eyes. The affection in her eyes was like the inexhaustible summer water, firmly locked on Lin Ming. I want him to go up with me. Wang Bingning's voice was not loud. With her pink lips slightly opened, she had already tightly grasped Lin Ming's hands with both hands. With a light pull, she turned Lin Ming away from his seat. What? The whole audience was in an uproar. No one looked at this scene confidently, sizing up Lin Ming. Although they had heard some rumors half an hour ago, they were just rumors after all and had not been personally verified. But now it was different. Wang Bingning's affectionate eyes, coupled with her petite posture, if this is not enough to prove that there is something fishy going on between the two of them, then they can just poke out their eyes and pretend to be blind. What is going on? Isn't this guy a son-in-law? I heard that he was just kicked out of the house. How come he has become Wang Bingning's boyfriend in the blink of an eye? Could it be that the Li family didn't kick him out, but someone poached him? In the private room of the four major families on the second floor, the Zhu family was angry. Wang Bingning, how exactly is he better than me? After a moment of daze, Zhu Yiqi suddenly reacted and reached out to grab Wang Bingning's arm. Wang Bingning took a step back and hid herself behind Lin Ming. Chapter 20. He is my husband. Mr. Zhu, please be more polite in front of my husband. Wang Bingning leaned on Lin Ming. Mr. Zhu, Lin Ming and I are already married, he is my husband. These words were like a bolt of thunder to Zhu Yiqi, and his mind went blank in an instant. Now we're going to have some fun. Marrying secretly. This man has been divorced for less than 3 days. Doesn't that mean he got married right after the divorce? What's so good about him? Wang Bingning is so confused. She has a deep cooperative relationship with the Zhu family, but now she is marrying another man. Isn't he afraid of breaking up with the Zhu family and going bankrupt? Public opinion was in an uproar, and everyone pointed at Lin Ming, talking about it, and waiting to see a good show. Despite being in the midst of the turmoil, Lin Ming's expression was very calm. As his eyes moved, he could see a hint of nervousness beneath Wang Bingning's forced calmness. This woman, who had been pretending to be a strong woman since they met, was not as calm as she appeared. Are you afraid of damaging your reputation, business bankruptcy, or just can't stand the pressure? Wife, I'm here, nothing will happen. As he spoke, Lin Ming opened his arms and slowly embraced Wang Bingning in his arms. All of a sudden, everything was quiet. The men who had just been gloating and waiting to watch the show suddenly became furious. Brat, how dare he report Wang Bingning? It was one thing for Wang Bingning to go into his arms, but it was another thing for him to take the initiative to report Wang Bingning. Wang Bingning's fans suddenly felt as if their treasure had been robbed and stared at Lin Ming. The fire of anger can burn Lin Ming to ashes. Let me go. Monday's strange roar. You are just a son-in-law. What qualifications do you have to hug Wang Bingning? How are you better than me? Zhu Yiqi, please watch your words. Lin Ming is my husband, and I won't allow you to insult him. Wang Bingning leaned in Lin Ming's arms, waiting for Zhu Yiqi coldly. Zhu Yiqi was so angry that he directly showed his family emblem. Wang Bingning, I'll give you one last chance. If you change your mind now, I can forgive you for what happened. Otherwise, the Zhu family will completely block you and demand compensation. No. The middle-aged woman screamed and almost fainted. Wang Bingning negotiated many commercial endorsement contracts, and all of these contracts were signed through the Zhu family's channels. Once compensation is paid, the offender will face a fine of several dozen times the amount. Once Wang Bingning goes bankrupt, where can he find such a good cash cow? Don't be angry, Wang Bingning was just playing a little joke on you. Fei Ruhuang said hurriedly. Zhu Yiqi's expression eased slightly. Is that so? Zhu Yiqi stared at Wang Bingning coldly, as if wanting him to express his opinion personally. If that's the case, slap him twice right now and I'll forgive you. How can it be just 2 slaps? A haunted man and woman walked over. They were Li Yusin and Zhang Yihen. Mr. Zhu Yiqi, you may not know that this kid is the most worthless piece of trash in our family. He does laundry, cooking, squatting on the floor, cleaning windows, and any work is given to him. He is born to be a workhorse. If he doesn't do some work, he has no value. If you slap him twice, he might even think it's a reward. Let me explain to you all. Actually, this guy is a waste. The reason why he is qualified to stand here and why you think he is a big shot is not because he is powerful, but because our Miss Wang is very powerful. Li Yusin looked at Wang Bingning excitedly, her eyes filled with the pleasure of revenge. Ms. Wang, I really don't know what you think of Lin Ming's good points. You deliberately tried to win fame for him. First, you asked Boss Luo to come forward to protect him and arranged him to sit in the best VIP seats. Then you asked Fei Ruhuang to write a weird paper to gild his academic qualifications. I just can't understand. If he is so powerful, why did he work like a slave in our Li family for 2 years? Am I really blind? In more than 2 years, 1,000 days and nights, I didn't find any good in him. Every time Li Yusin spoke, he sneered. When he finished speaking, everyone was suddenly in an uproar. It turns out that all this was fake. Boss Luo and Fei Ruhuan came forward just to give Lin Mingtai a prize for Wang Bingning's sake. Wang Bingning, we have already exposed all your tricks. What other tricks do you have? Seeing that Wang Bingning remained silent, Li Yusin became even more proud. You actually know Boss Luo, and what's the matter with Fei Ruhuan? Wang Bingning looked at Lin Ming in surprise, as if she had gotten to know Lin Ming all over again. He knew Lin Ming's identity, but he never thought that Lin Ming had such powerful means without relying on his family. Luo Jinhong and Fei Ruhuan were both important figures during the city closure. Even he might not be able to give orders to these two people, let alone let them act together. There are still many things you don't know. I only allow you, the big star Wang, to have the ability. Can't I hide a few songs? Lin Ming said lightly. Lin Ming, look at me. Zhu Ichi roared. Immediately. Let go. Wang Bingning. Lin Ming glanced at Zhu Ichi and said unhappily. Wang Bingning is my wife, why should I let go? We are a loving couple, what does a little private conversation have to do with you? Couple. Zhu Yi was so angry that his eyes turned red. He has admired Wang Bingning for many years and had planned to propose to her tonight, but someone intervened. How could he tolerate this? Not to mention that the person who kidnapped Wang Bingning was not a nobleman from one of the four major families, but a good-for-nothing waste. If he backs down tonight, he won't even be worthy of being called a man from now on. Aren't you afraid of death? Wife, let's go to the stage and ignore these guys. Lin Ming shrugged, ignored Zhu Ichi's anger, put his arm around Zhu Ichi's slender waist and walked onto the stage. And the test was fresh, and he was so angry that he trembled all over. Wang Bingning followed Lin Ming closely, as if she had really become Lin Ming's wife. No matter what her man said, she followed him silently. The two of them walked onto the stage hand in hand. On the second floor, there was a loud bang and a wine glass smashed onto the stage. How outrageous! How outrageous! Wang Bingning, you married a loser and humiliated our Zhu family. Do you really want to be an enemy of our Zhu family? Wang Bingning met the other party's gaze without saying a word. Then, when everyone thought that Wang Bingning would back off, she suddenly hugged Lin Ming's face and kissed him hard. In public, under the spotlight, Wang Bingning kissed Lin Ming on the face. The next moment, Wang Bingning took 2 steps back, her cheeks slightly red. She looked at the VIPs upstairs, then looked down and raised her hand. There was already a wedding ring on her finger. I am already a married woman. My man is called Lin Ming. From now on, he is my only man. No matter whether he achieves success or not, I have no regrets. Chapter 21 The Truth About the Zhu Family. Under the crystal lights of the Vienna Hotel, Wang Bingning's voice echoed through the dome in everyone's ears, stunning everyone. I don't know how long it took, but someone finally came to his senses. Crazy. Wang Bingning, you are really crazy. Do you know what the price of marrying this poor boy is? Love makes people blind. This saying is really true. Wang Bingning is still too young. It's okay if she likes to have fun, even if she has a gigolo. Marrying a loser will offend the Zhu family. Even if she is a popular actress, she can't afford the price. This guy is a poor guy. If Wang Bingning goes bankrupt because of this, do you think he can support Wang Bingning? Alas, young people are prone to lose their minds for love. Everyone pointed at Lin Ming and Wang Bingning, talking and gloating. No one could understand Wang Bingning's decision. Wang Bingning has put in countless efforts to get to where she is today, but now everything has gone to waste. Everyone was just watching the show, but some people were furious. Zhu Ichi and Zhu family. Over the years, the Zhu family has invested a lot of resources in Wang Bingning. Although they have received a lot of returns, they have long regarded Wang Bingning as the Zhu family's cash cow. How could they allow others to get involved? Everyone, Bingning is not feeling well today and drank a few glasses of wine beforehand. She is just talking nonsense. Please don't take it seriously. Wang Bingning's sister-in-law was so anxious that she broke out in a sweat. She tried her best to explain to Zhu Ichi, hoping to get his forgiveness. Not true. Zhu Ichi was stunned, and a gleam of light flashed in his eyes. Mr. Zhu, this can't be fake. I still have the photo of them taking the marriage certificate. Li Yusin said sinisterly, and took out 3 photos like a magic trick, which were photos of Lin Ming and Wang Bingning in front of the Civil Affairs Office. After seeing the photo, the last bit of hope in Zhu Yiqi's heart was completely shattered. There are even photos, how can you make me believe it's fake? Is her wedding ring fake? Do you still want to say this is acting? Why doesn't she act this kind of play with me? Zhu Yiqi was so angry that he was shaking all over and almost lost his mind. That's the truth. He felt like a clown who was always being made fun of. The Zhu family was even more furious. As the number one family in Fengcheng, how could they swallow this insult when their reputation was trampled underfoot? Wang Bingning, you must give us an explanation. The Zhu family rushed down and immediately surrounded Wang Bingning, trying to drag her to the VIP box on the second floor. Seeing this scene, Li Yusin in the crowd immediately smiled with satisfaction. Big star, now you know you regret it, right? From the first moment she saw Wang Bingning at the Civil Affairs Bureau, she hated Wang Bingning. Whether it was appearance, figure, temperament, or achievements, Wang Bingning crushed her in all aspects. But such a gifted girl actually married Lin Ming for no reason? If this banquet is allowed to go ahead, wouldn't it prove that Li Yusin is blind? Lin Ming must be a waste, and can only be a waste, in order to show that Miss Li has a unique vision and that the divorce was correct. Now that she has offended the Zhu family and is facing huge compensation, Wang Bingning must draw a clear line with Lin Ming, otherwise she will go bankrupt. However, Wang Bingning's subsequent performance stunned Li Yusin, which was no less than a slap in the face. Explain to your Zhu family what to explain. Facing the Zhu family's aggressive questioning, Wang Bingning took the lead and silenced them with just one sentence. Explain why your Zhu family signed hundreds of endorsement contracts for me in the past 3 years, but didn't give me a penny. Or explain that you deliberately used my identity to trick fans into raising funds, and if I hadn't discovered it in time, you would have cheated fans out of 1 billion yuan. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone who had been planning to laugh at Wang Bingning was suddenly shocked and then fell into an uproar. Is this true? The Zhu family is the leader of the 4 major families in Fengcheng. How could they do something so shameless? Isn't this impossible? Would the Zhu family be interested in such a small amount of money? Everyone was talking about it, trying to find an explanation, but they saw that the Zhu family members who were so aggressive just now seemed to have lost their temper and felt a little guilty. In an instant, everyone took a breath of cold air. Could it be that Wang Bingning was really right? This is impossible. Zhu Yiqi glared at Wang Bingning, his eyes filled with astonishment. Bingning, my Zhu family is worth tens of billions, how could they treat you like this? And I've already told them that they will treat you like a young lady, who dares to tamper with your contract. As he said that, Zhu Yiqi turned around and looked at everyone in the Zhu family, only to see that all the family members had guilty expressions and avoided eye contact, and no one dared to look at him. With just one glance, Zhu Yiqi felt like he was struck by lightning, and then burst into anger. Are you dumb? Answer me, is this true? In the past few years, how many contracts have you signed using Bingning, and how much money have you made? Under the spotlight, all the Zhu family members were sweating profusely, trembling, and unable to speak. At this point, even though there is no conclusion yet, everyone has seen the clues. The Zhu family wanted to take Wang Bingning away, not to vent their anger on Zhu Yiqi, but just to shut Wang Bingning's mouth and stop her from telling the truth. Can this loser Zhu Yiqi really do it? Li Yusin stared at the scene in amazement and almost lost her temper. As a member of a prominent family, you can't even control the people under you. Zhang Ziheng was also speechless. They also planned to use Zhu Yiqi to attack Lin Ming, but they didn't expect that Zhu Yiqi himself was not clean either, and they wasted their feelings in vain. Let's go, we still have to rely on ourselves. Zhang Ziheng snorted coldly and looked up at the box upstairs. The distinguished guests from all families have almost arrived, it's time to talk about the head of the family. On the other side, everyone in the Zhu family retreated guiltily, leaving Zhu Yiqi alone. Bingning, please give me another chance. I didn't know this before, but now that I know it, I promise that this will never happen again. Zhu Yiqi is still struggling to survive. Wang Bingning, however, was already feeling fed up and didn't want to have anything to do with Zhu Yiqi anymore. Lin Ming was standing nearby, noticing her expression, and he sighed slightly, thinking that it was time for him to make his appearance. Who else can be the villain except him? Zhu Yiqi, what can you guarantee? Lin Ming said lightly. I am the eldest son of the family. I can run for the position of the head of the family and can also pass on orders. Who dares not to listen to me? Zhu Yiqi was very unhappy with Lin Ming, but since it concerned Wang Bingning's trust, he had to suppress his anger and answer. You have been kept in the dark for the past 3 years, which means you are not qualified to handle the core business of the family, let alone control the financial power. Even if you take the position of head of the family, how can you guarantee that the people below will not pretend to obey you and cheat you by making up fake accounts? Lin Ming slowly extended a finger. I only asked you 3 questions. That was the first one. If you can answer the next 2 questions, I will admit that you are qualified to pursue Wang Bingning. Zhu Yiqi's eyes suddenly lit up. 3 questions. As the most outstanding son of the Zhu family, shouldn't it be easy for him to answer them? Chapter 22, Settling the Accounts. Are a few hundred million a lot? Second question. Lin Ming extended his second finger. The Zhu family fully supports you in pursuing Wang Bingning. Have they ever told you why? Is it because they simply think that you two are a good match, or is it because the Zhu family is on the verge of bankruptcy and must grab Wang Bingning as a lifeline, otherwise it will go bankrupt in an instant? The third question is, over the years, how many employees of the Zhu family have worked hard and how many have been paid for nothing? Do you have an approximate estimate? Lin Ming's 3 questions completely confused Zhu Yiqi. The 3 questions directly point to the 3 core elements of the family. The first issue is the family's financial power, the second issue is the right to know about major family crises, and the third issue is the control over family personnel. 3 questions, and Zhu Yiqi couldn't answer even one of them. Seeing Zhu Yiqi's face gradually turning pale, even Wang Bingning felt a little sorry for him. When she just entered the room, she found Lin Ming sitting obediently in the VIP seat. She thought that Lin Ming was of no use and she had to perform on her own throughout the whole process. But now, Wang Bingning found herself slapped in the face. I can try to learn. Give me some time, and I will definitely be able to improve the situation. Zhu Yiqi was still struggling desperately, not wanting to give up, and even less willing to admit that he had lost to Lin Ming. Lin Ming suddenly sneered. Time? I'm afraid there is no time left for you. If there are any problems with the 3 points I mentioned, it means that your Zhu family is on the verge of bankruptcy. When a wall falls, everyone pushes it. When a drum is broken, everyone beats it. Do you think others will give you this time? As if to verify what Lin Ming said, the crowd who had been talking a moment ago suddenly reacted and surrounded Zhu Yiqi in an instant. Zhu Yiqi, I just paid your family a deposit at the beginning of the year. Can you still execute the contract? Zhu Yiqi, last year's account has not been settled yet. You must not delay it any longer this year. No, you must pay us tonight. The eldest son of the most aristocratic family in Fengcheng now seemed like a prisoner. Don't worry, everyone. Our Zhu family is the number 1 family in Fengcheng. We will never owe debts, let alone run away. I promise you as the eldest young master. Zhu Yiqi was caught in the storm and had no control over his body. He could only shout desperately. What's the use of your identity? We don't want any guarantees, we just want money. Everyone screamed. Looking at this scene, a trace of sadness flashed in Wang Bingning's eyes. Why, are you heartbroken? Do you have feelings for him? Lin Ming said with a smile. After all, he has helped me and is indeed my fan. His current situation has nothing to do with him. It's all the Zhu family's fault. Wang Bingning said slowly, with an extremely complicated expression. If the Zhu family had not been too pushy and greedy, she would not have wanted to choose today to fall out. Zhu Yiqi has been silently supporting her since before she became famous, and has never changed his mind over the years. Just because of the friendship with her fans, she couldn't do anything heartless. However, the Zhu family is becoming more and more excessive. If she does not resist, she will become a vassal and victim of the Zhu family. So, you want to settle the account for him? Lin Ming said thoughtfully. However, upon hearing this, Wang Bingning smiled bitterly. The Zhu family is the most prestigious family in Fengcheng, with assets exceeding 10 billion, and a funding gap of at least 5 billion. How can I be qualified to manage it for them? She did make some money and owns several companies, but the entertainment industry is only glamorous on the surface. In reality, the money she made is not that much compared to her fame. Hearing this, Lin Ming smiled faintly. What if I say I can help you? Don't be ridiculous. Wang Bingning said immediately. Don't think I don't know. Although your father is a big shot in Yangjing, you are just an illegitimate child. Where did you get so much money? So you think that I am no different from Zhu Yiqi to where I am today? Without my family, I am just a waste. Lin Ming's tone was full of indifference. I'm not Zhu Yiqi's parents, and I have no interest in solving all of their family's financial problems. But now that I'm married to you, I have to be responsible for your reputation. Having said that, Lin Ming walked forward without waiting for Wang Bingning to react. The crowd was crowded, but Lin Ming pushed open a path with his hand and pulled Zhu Yiqi out of the crowd. Thank you for helping me, I will definitely. Zhu Yiqi was pushed into a very awkward situation. Just when he was about to look up to thank him, he saw Lin Ming's face and froze in place instantly. Don't you think I'm embarrassing enough? What else do you want? Zhu Yiqi instantly became furious, glaring at Lin Ming angrily and gritting his teeth. This is the upbringing of you, the children of aristocratic families. You speak rudely to the benefactor who helped you out of your urgent need. Lin Ming said playfully. Hearing this, Zhu Yiqi was stunned for a moment. Benefactor? What kind of benefactor is Lin Ming? Before he could react, Lin Ming had already walked into the crowd. Everyone, you can choose not to believe Zhu Yiqi or the Zhu family, but please believe Wang Bingning. Zhu Yiqi has supported Bingning a lot over the years. For our past friendship, I have decided to take out 1 billion yuan to alleviate his urgent needs, as a way of repaying the fan support over the years. Fan support, 1 billion. Hearing this, everyone present exclaimed in surprise, their faces full of surprise. Mr. Lin, you have to be strong. Mr. Lin, I take back what I just said. You and Wang Bingning are the perfect match. I have always felt that Zhu Yiqi is not worthy of Wang Bingning. With the money, everyone immediately turned against Lin Ming and flattered him. However, in the face of the sugar-coated bullet, Lin Ming just smiled indifferently and looked at everyone calmly, unmoved. How can you have money? Zhu Yiqi's face was gloomy and uncertain. He stared at Lin Ming with suspicion in his eyes. Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng made it very clear that Lin Ming had just been kicked out of the Li family and was obviously a pauper, so how could he possibly settle his debts? Whatever you think, do you want to accept the money or not? Lin Ming said lightly. He helped Zhu Yiqi settle the debt not for the sake of Zhu Yiqi's family, but for the sake of Wang Bingning. Even if they were a fake couple, even if it was just a formality, he would not allow his woman to suffer any injustice. 2 or 3 years ago, he treated Li Yusin like this, and 2 or 3 years later, he treated Wang Bingning like this. Money is worthless to him. Looking at Lin Ming's back, Wang Bingning's expression was extremely complicated. For her, choosing to marry Lin Ming was actually just a task to deal with the task from the upper level. She had no way to resist, so she could only accept it. She also happened to want to get rid of the Zhu family, so she wanted to use Lin Ming as a shield. However, she didn't expect that Lin Ming, who was also a waste in her eyes, could solve a dispute worth hundreds of millions for her with just a few words. Could it be that Lin Ming has some improper thoughts about her, or is Lin Ming also her crazy fan? As soon as this thought came to her mind, Wang Bingning immediately gave a bitter smile. Although she is a big star who is the focus of everyone's attention, she is not so narcissistic. With Lin Ming's background, what level of celebrity can't he support? The strength of this fake husband seems to be much stronger than she imagined. So, why did Li Yusin give up Lin Ming? Did she know what a terrifying treasure she was giving up? Chapter 23, Zhang Ziheng becomes the clan leader. I accept. Facing Lin Ming's calm and slightly playful gaze, Zhu Yiqi slowly lowered his head and said through gritted teeth. The temptation of several hundred million in firefighting funds was too great. Even if he was unwilling to accept it, he had to bow his head. When I have money, I will definitely pay you back. Zhu Yiqi still wants to make up for it. No need, it's just a few hundred million, it's just pocket money for me. Since you have accepted this money, from now on, you and Wang Bingning will have no relationship at all. Lin Ming waved his hand casually and ordered them to leave. If you understand, get out of here. Zhu Yiqi suddenly looked up and stared at Lin Ming. Don't think I will thank you. This money is not yours at all. It must have been given to me by Bingning. It has nothing to do with you. Monday's strange roar. Whatever you think. Lin Ming said lightly, not even bothering to explain. In fact, even with these hundreds of millions, the Zhu family's problems cannot be solved. The reason is simple. A chronic disease is not developed in a day. If the Zhu family had realized the problem, they would not have reached this point today. Wife, it's time for us to go on stage. Lin Ming said with a smile, holding Wang Bingning's hand, and slowly walked onto the stage under the attention of everyone. Under the spotlight, Wang Bingning calmed herself down and soon became the shining star again. I'm sorry, everyone, for showing you such a farce. On the stage, Wang Bingning shone brightly, like a goddess surrounded by stars. In the other box, Li Yusin looked at Wang Bingning hatefully, feeling a mixture of jealousy in her heart. Bitch, have you lost your mind? What's so good about Lin Ming? Lin Ming, don't think you can turn things around by tying up Wang Bingning. No matter how much Wang Bingning praises you, it can't change the fact that you are a waste. You are still a spineless pretty boy. As a celebrity, you dare to get married. Even if Ju Ichi agrees, your fans won't agree, and neither will your partners. You can just wait to face huge compensation and lose everything. Li Yusin drank a glass of wine angrily and tried hard not to look at the stage below. Just then, a burst of laughter was heard. Zheng, what's wrong with you? Li Yusin looked back and saw Zhang Zheng walking back with a cheerful face and an unstoppable smile on his face. Yusin, guess what my identity is now? Zhang Zheng pretended to be mysterious and proudly took out a ring. The thumb ring is made of ancient jade, revealing a sense of simplicity, but in addition to its precious material, it also has another use. Holding this ring is equivalent to possessing the power of the family. Zheng, have you been recognized by the family? Li Yusin exclaimed and said excitedly. Zhang Zheng nodded and put the jade ring on his thumb. His whole demeanor seemed to have undergone a drastic change. A moment ago, Zhang Zheng was just a rich young man who had returned from a successful academic career, but at this moment, he seemed to have become more calm. Just one look from him made Li Yusin's legs tremble, and she wished she could throw herself on Zhang Zheng. Zheng, you are so handsome. Li Yusin's eyes were charming and her heart was blossoming. With this ring, Zhang Zheng will be able to lead the family business, and she can also marry into a wealthy family and become Fengchen's top socialite. Zheng, I want to be a big star too. Li Yusin's heart moved, and she immediately said as she looked at Wang Bingning who was enjoying the glory below. Zhang Zheng was feeling very proud and arrogant. Upon hearing this, he waved his hand. This is easy, just wait. As he spoke, Zhang Zheng shouted outside. Outside the VIP box door, 3 waiters came in immediately. Mr. Zhang. Master? Look carefully before you speak. What is my current status? Zhang Zheng snorted coldly when he heard this and deliberately shook the ring on his hand. The 3 waiters were slightly stunned, looked up at Zhang Zheng, and when they saw the ring on his hand clearly, they exclaimed. Master Zhang! Har 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 har! Zhang Zheng laughed loudly, and became extremely inflated. Zhang Group, one of the 4 major families in Fengcheng, has assets worth nearly 10 billion yuan and employs more than 10,000 people. It is a veritable landlord in Fengcheng. And now, he has the qualifications to become the head of the family. I order you to clear the stage below immediately and hold a party for my Yushin. R. The 3 waiters were slightly stunned and immediately looked embarrassed. What? You dare to disobey my orders? Zhang Zheng snorted coldly. Master Zhang, today is Miss Wang Bingning's press conference, and they have already booked it in advance, so there is no way to change it at the last minute. How about tomorrow? Before he finished speaking, Zhang Zheng slammed the table, picked up the ashtray and smashed it over. I am commanding you now as the head of the Zhang family. I don't care what Wang Bingning thinks. If you dare to say one more word of nonsense, I will kill you. Zhang Zheng roared. The waiter was so scared that he was shaking all over. He dared not to argue anymore and turned away. Zheng, you are so handsome. Looking at Zhang Zheng's angry look, Li Yusin's face was full of stars, and she almost admired him to the extreme. This kind of man is the man of her dreams. At the same time, Wang Bingning on the stage was delivering her career transformation report. Having been in the entertainment industry for many years, Wang Bingning knows very well that this industry relies on youth. She is still young, but now that she is married, her value as an artist will be greatly depreciated. But for her, she is no longer just an artist, so she doesn't care about it. If you can't be an artist, then be a boss in the entertainment industry, or even switch careers and become a business boss. Today is her press conference, and it is also a critical moment for her to send a signal to the outside world. Just then, 3 waiters came to the stage and found Wang Bingning. You want me to leave? I booked the dinner party today. Although it was held in the name of the Zhu family, I paid for it. Why do you want me to leave? Wang Bingning's pretty face darkened and she said coldly. Ms. Wang, we are not the ones who are making things difficult for you. It is the head of the Zhang family who is making things difficult for you. He is determined to occupy today. We also want to speak for you, but look at our injuries. The three of them said with bitter faces, covering their bloody foreheads. The wounds were horrifying. Wang Bingning's expression eased a little. She looked up at the VIP box on the second floor and saw Li Yusin's smug face. Li Yusin looked down at Wang Bingning, her face full of pride and arrogance as a winner. Zheng, Wang Bingning seems very dissatisfied. Will she refuse? Li Yusin felt Wang Bingning's hostility, and her heart suddenly skipped a beat, feeling a little uneasy. After all, she was just a woman who had never experienced any storms, so how could she be qualified to fight against Wang Bingning? What is there to be afraid of? Every family supports me. How can she turn the tables? Zhang Ziheng said casually, staring at Wang Bingning's perfect figure, with a strong greed in his eyes. It's such a loss for Lin Ming to get such a beautiful woman. He had thought Wang Bingning was a beauty before, but because of the huge difference in their status, he had always suppressed his desire. But now, he is the head of the Zhang family, and Wang Bingning should let him enjoy himself. Chapter 24, The Villain Succeeds. Wang Bingning, don't be ungrateful, get off right now. Zhang Ziheng's clansmen rushed onto the stage and started to make trouble and drive people away without waiting for Wang Bingning to speak. What do you want to do? Just at this moment, a person blocked the stairs. It was Lin Ming. Zhang Ziheng, are you done yet? Lin Ming looked coldly at Zhang Ziheng outside the crowd with a gloomy look. Tonight's banquet is an important occasion for Wang Bingning, but Zhang Ziheng is like a lingering ghost, making trouble the whole time. He has given Zhang Ziheng many opportunities. If Zhang Ziheng dares to cause trouble, he doesn't mind taking action himself. Teacher, calm down first. It's just the Zhang family. It's enough for me to handle it. Fei Ruhuang walked up and stared at Zhang Ziheng coldly. Just as he was about to speak, his expression suddenly changed. Zhang Ziheng showed off the jade ring on his hand, which immediately attracted exclamations. Lin Ming, I am now the head of the Zhang family. Didn't you expect that? Zhang Ziheng hugged Li Yusin and looked at Lin Ming triumphantly, wanting to see Lin Ming's shocked expression. Lin Ming, you are such an ungrateful person. Master Zhang needs to discuss this with you before he can use the stage. Miss Li is giving you face by requisitioning the stage. If you don't continue, I, Liu Jiayuan, will be rude to you first. A fat man with a fat head and big ears came up, and faced Li Yusin and Zhang Ziheng, almost fawning on them to the point of kneeling on the ground. But when he turned his head to look at Lin Ming, he was so ambitious that he wished he could burst his belly. This person is just a small supplier. He took advantage of the opportunity to make some money in the past 2 years and got a ticket to tonight's banquet. The Liu family is just a third-rate small family that is not worthy of being on the stage. However, Liu Jiayuan is conceited and arrogant, and he is determined to get on the good side of the major families. And now, it is simply a godsend. Zhang Ziheng got the family jade ring and just came to power, which was a perfect opportunity for him to find a lackey. As long as he performs well and can hold onto Zhang Ziheng's thigh, Zhang Ziheng only needs to say a few words, and the Liu family will be able to rise to the top and enter the 100 million yuan club, and it is very likely that they will even enter the 1 billion yuan club. Under normal circumstances, Fei Ruhuang only needed to look at Liu Jiayuan to scare him to death, but now, because of Zhang Ziheng, even Fei Ruhuang didn't dare to act rashly, for fear of exacerbating the conflict. Everyone present regarded Zhang Ziheng as a giant, but Lin Ming didn't care at all. Who the hell are you? How dare you show off in front of me? Lin Ming looked at Liu Jiayuan coldly with disdain on his face. He knows Liu Jiayuan. 2 or 3 years ago, Fengcheng ushered in a wave of opportunities. Seeing the huge business opportunities in this wave of opportunities, Lin Ming made arrangements in advance and helped the Li family to be reborn from the ashes and enter the billion yuan club in just 2 years. During this period, he ate the meat and naturally some people could drink the soup. Liu Jiayuan was one of them. At that time, Liu Jiayuan was just a wild dog struggling in the commercial wave, unable to even eat hot shit. If he hadn't felt sorry for Liu Jiayuan would not have been qualified to step into the door of the banquet. And now, Liu Jiayuan has made some money with his ideas, and he even wants to step on him to jump onto Zhang Ziheng's big ship. This can't be said to be heartless, he is simply a beast. Liu Jiayuan was pointed at and scolded in public, his face suddenly became extremely ugly, and he rushed to Lin Ming and cursed at him. Lin Ming, don't be so arrogant. Didn't I just make some money by following you? Look at how petty you are, as if I have received a great favor and I can't make money without you. Don't think that I won't hit you just because you have done me a favor. I advise you to kneel down and apologize to Master Zhang quickly, otherwise Master Zhang will get angry and cut off your life. Fengcheng will be your burial place. As soon as these words were spoken, there was an uproar all around. Zhang Ziheng narrowed his eyes slightly, looking extremely pleased. Ziheng, you are amazing. Li Yusin leaned in Zhang Ziheng's arms, almost floating with excitement. Yusin, be more reserved. It's just a matter of killing a bug. Look how excited you are. Zhang Ziheng smiled faintly and looked at Lin Ming with extreme contempt, as if waiting for Lin Ming to kneel down. Lin Ming sneered. Even if he becomes the head of the family, what can he do? There is not only one Zhang family in Fengcheng. The Zhu family can fall. How can the Zhang family cover the sky with one hand? Lin Ming, you are still being stubborn. How can the Zhu family be compared with the Zhang family? The Zhang family is a business family. How can they be compared with the upstart Zhu family? I advise you not to have any more luck. Liu Jiayuan sneered, almost trampling Lin Ming into an inferior person. Seeing that someone took the initiative to stand up and cheer for him, Zhang Ziheng was no longer anxious. He is a big shot now. If he has to crush an ant to death by himself, wouldn't it be a loss of his status? You want me to kneel down? No way. Lin Ming's eyes flashed coldly and his voice gradually became colder. Lin Ming, I advise you not to be ungrateful. Another voice sounded. Among the crowd, an old man in fur clothes spoke up and walked out with an arrogant look on his face, but suddenly turned around and bowed to Zhang Ziheng, as humble as a turtle grandson. The old man, like Liu Jiayuan, is also the boss of a small group. He has some wealth, but he also wants to cling to Zhang Ziheng. An old man half buried in the ground, what can you do with me? Lin Ming glanced at the old man and said lightly. Lin Ming, don't be so arrogant. Lin Ming, how dare you disrespect the elders? Lin Ming, I order you to kneel down before the elder immediately. As soon as Lin Ming finished speaking, several bosses who wanted to take advantage of the situation rushed up immediately, eager to step on Lin Ming to get to the top. Fei Ruhuang's face looked extremely ugly. Although these people are only small bosses, when combined together, they can form a strong force. He can no longer handle this group of people on his own. Teacher, why don't we retreat first? Fei Ruhuang said with some shame. Why, do you think I'm afraid of them? Lin Ming said lightly. You don't have to be afraid of them. They are just some clowns. But as the saying goes, many ants can kill an elephant. The situation is not favorable for us now. Don't you think the old saying that ants can kill elephants is ridiculous? Lin Ming had a calm expression, and there was a hint of contempt in his eyes as he looked at Liu Jiayuan and the others who were huddled together. A group of ants want to bite an elephant to death, but the premise is that the elephant will not resist and will just wait to die on the spot. There is another premise, these ants can break the elephant's defense. But he will not sit and wait for death. Liu Jiayuan and others do not have fangs and sharp teeth. Seeing that Lin Ming remained indifferent, the people around were suddenly shocked. Even if Lin Ming is indeed a bit tough, isn't he too stupid? With Zhang Ziheng's current status, how could Wang Bingning resist him? Does this kid think that by clinging to Wang Bingning's thigh and becoming a gigolo, he can really be on par with the four major families? Zhu Yiqi was suppressed by him because there were problems with the Zhu family itself, not because of his own strength. Chapter 25, A Visitor from Yangjing. Just now I thought highly of this kid, but now it seems that Zhu Yiqi is right. The several hundred million he took out was probably all Wang Bingning's money. Miss Wan wanted to give young Master Zhu a way out and was worried that giving the money in person would seem too generous. Does he really think he has the ability? Some of the guests mocked. Don't you think about it? If he was really a good husband, why would Li Yusin kick him out? If he doesn't kneel down to Zhang Ziheng today, he may not be able to leave this door at all. Everyone was talking about it. Lin Ming, you look down on these small bosses, so what if my Shu family is included? Amidst the discussion, a voice was heard from the second floor, and a young man was seen standing at the door of the VIP box, looking at Lin Ming with pride. Hearing this voice, Lin Ming looked up and a cold light flashed in his eyes. Shu Chunqiao. Among the four major families in Fengcheng, besides the Zhu family and the Zhang family, the Shu family ranks third. At the same time, Shu Chunchao is also the only person from the four major families who has had conflicts with him. Lin Ming, how are you? You didn't expect me to be here, did you? Seeing Lin Ming looking up at him, Shu Chunchao immediately looked proud. Why, you've had enough of being a stray dog, you want to change your taste and continue to be a dog for the Zhang family. Before Shu Chunchao could feel proud for a moment, Lin Ming suddenly said something that made Shu Chunchao's face turn red and he almost fell from the second floor. A year ago, he took a fancy to the Li group, which was still led by Lin Ming at that time. He used some means to drive down the Li family's stock price and wanted to forcibly acquire the Li family. Everything was going smoothly, but for some reason something went wrong and a mysterious consortium was alerted. The hundreds of millions of funds he painstakingly led were swallowed up in a wave, and he almost lost his entire family. After the incident, he knew he had caused a big disaster and was afraid to face others, so he fled abroad. He left for a whole year and only dared to show up today. However, outsiders are completely unaware of these things. In their eyes, Shu Chunchao is still the wealthy young master of one of the four major families. The faces of the people around looked strange. Shu Chunchao, the heir of the Shu family among the four major families. Lin Ming is simply asking for his own death. In one banquet, he offended 3 important figures from the 4 major families. He is simply a madman. When Fei Ruhuan saw Shu Chunchao appear, a hint of despair appeared in his eyes. And Wang Bingning's aunt wanted to tear Lin Ming into pieces. Bingning, why don't you say anything? If you continue to get involved with this guy, you will be shattered to pieces. The young aunt said excitedly, wishing she could open Wang Bingning's brain to see what kind of drug Lin Ming had given her. If you offend any one of the 4 major families, you will suffer serious consequences, but Lin Ming has offended 3 of them in a row. Even if he has 10 lives, it would not be enough to die, right? You don't need to worry about my affairs. Wang Bingning said coldly, looking at Lin Ming's calm face. She chose to believe it. Since Lin Ming said that he is not a waste like Zhu Yiqi, and since Lin Ming said that he does not rely on his family, she will see what Lin Ming can do. If Lin Ming is just as he said, what would it matter even if I really marry him? Lin Ming, let's settle the old and new grudges together. Today I have Zhang Ziheng helping me. I want to see if you can be so lucky and break his legs for me. At Shu Chunchao's command, more than a dozen strong men jumped down from the building and rushed towards Lin Ming. Seeing this, Wang Bingning's pretty face changed slightly. What do you want to do in public? As she said this, Wang Bingning wanted to move forward, but her aunt held her tightly. Bingning, what's so good about this kid? Just let him die. If he dies, we will suffer less. Wang Bingning struggled desperately. Aunt, please let me go. He is my man now. I can't just sit there and do nothing. Lin Ming was slightly surprised and turned to look at Wang Bingning, but saw that Wang Bingning's eyes were full of concern, and a warm feeling flowed through his heart. He worked like a slave for the Li family, but in the end all he got in return was a divorce notice and he was kicked out. He gave Wang Bingning almost nothing, but Wang Bingning never left him when she was in danger. That cheap dad may not be good at other things, but he has an exceptionally good eye for women. At this moment, more than a dozen strong men rushed over, with excitement in their eyes. In their view, as long as they court Lin Ming, they would have accomplished a great feat. Bounty and status are all beckoning to them. Lin Ming is just a fat chicken. Who dares to cause trouble? At this moment, at the end of the VIP passage on the 2nd floor, the elevator door opened and an old man and a young man walked out slowly. The old man was wearing a plain white Zhongshan suit and cloth shoes with 1,000-layer soles. His clothes were simple and not luxurious, but there was an indescribable nobility and spirit in his steps. The young man next to him was Luo Jinhong. This mysterious boss who could suppress the Zhu family took a half step back, as if he was just a junior in front of the old man. The banquet hall was silent for a moment. Who is this old man? How dare he stop the 4 major families? I haven't seen him before. He shouldn't be from our area. But Luo Jinhong is behind him. He seems to be someone important, right? Everyone was cautious and guessing the old man's identity. However, when Zhang Ziheng saw this, he just smiled indifferently. He glanced at the old man's clothes and found that there was nothing conspicuous on him, so he immediately put it aside. As for Luo Jinhong, he didn't take it seriously at all. The Zhu family was afraid of Luo Jinhong because they needed his help, but he was different. The Zhang family's business was not originally in the hotel industry, it was just a club. Once he took control of the family's financial power, he could build a more luxurious club. What's more, when he just entered the room, Luo Jinhong's people deliberately made things difficult for him, and he hasn't settled the score with Luo Jinhong yet. Old man, who do you think you are? How dare you shout in front of Master Zhang? Seeing that Zhang Ziheng was unmoved, Liu Jiayuan suddenly became emboldened and rushed forward with a group of small bosses, blocking the old man at the stairs to the second floor. No one present recognized the old man's identity, but a hint of surprise flashed in Lin Ming's eyes. Why does this old man look so familiar? Lin Ming frowned, thought about it for a moment, and suddenly a hint of astonishment flashed in his eyes. No way. That cheap dad actually secretly sent the old guy who was in charge of the Lin family's ancestral home. Why didn't he tell him in advance? The gatekeeper of the Lin family's ancestral home, Mr. Lin. This is the identity of the old man. Old Lin stood at the stairs, looking at Lin Ming with a complicated and excited expression. Young master, I'm here to see you. Young master, you have been wronged. If you don't want to die, get out of here. Elder Lin spoke slowly, his weathered face expressionless, but the murderous intent in his voice was like frost in September. He just glanced casually, then moved his gaze away from Liu Jiayuan and focused on Lin Ming again. Chapter 26 Countdown to Death. The young master has suffered a lot, and there are even a few white hairs on his temples. Looking at the stitching on this piece of clothing, it seems to be the work of an old lady. Is she okay? Over the years, in order to protect the young master, the master didn't dare to send out even a single message. He must have suffered a lot, right? If Luo Jinhong had not just reminded him, he would have been unable to resist the impulse and would have knelt in front of Lin Ming. Although the master has already taken control of the family power, he has just taken office and the situation is uncertain. He must not reveal the young master's true identity, otherwise it will bring murderous intentions to the young master. Old man, I don't think you will live for many more years. If you know what's best for you, get out of here and don't get involved in Mr. Zhang's affairs. Otherwise, today will be the day you die. Old Lin was still sighing, but Liu Jiayuan was unaware that his death was approaching and was still provoking him. Hearing the word death, Mr. Lin came back to his senses instantly, and his eyes, as sharp as a knife, fell on Liu Jiayuan. When? That's right. Master Zhang can call the shots in Fengcheng with just a wave of his hand. Killing you is as easy as pie. Liu Jiayuan turned around and bowed to Zhang Ziheng with a flattering look on his face. Others followed suit and almost made Zhang Ziheng the emperor. Mr. Lin smiled leisurely, turned to look at Luo Jinhong, and gave an order. Honger, use my phone to send an order. I am not satisfied with the heir of the Zhang family. Ask them to replace him. Hearing what Mr. Lin said, Liu Jiayuan and others laughed so hard that they almost cried. Old man, do you want to listen to what you are saying? Who do you think you are to decide the candidates for the four major families? Not only Liu Jiayuan, everyone present did not believe that Mr. Lin was so powerful that he could decide the Zhang family's head candidate with just one sentence. When Li Yusin heard this, she sneered and was too lazy to even get angry. Ziheng, look at what this old man said, is he crazy? The three major families all support you to be the head of the Zhang family. Who does he think he is? None of the distinguished guests took Mr. Lin's words seriously. Even if Luo Jinhong took the phone to carry out the old man's orders, no one cared. For a moment, the whole place was filled with laughter. Only Lin Ming had a trace of sadness in his eyes when he looked at Zhang Ziheng. You are laughing so happily now, you may not be able to cry later. He knew very well that although old Lin was only the gatekeeper of the ancestral home, he was the old man's most trusted confidant. Sometimes, what he says is even more effective than what the old man says, because Mr. Lin has a lot of experience and has countless connections in various families. However, what exactly did the old man mean by calling Mr. Lin over? If the situation in Yangjing is stable, Elder Lin is only here to deliver news, but if the situation is unstable, in addition to delivering news, Elder Lin may also be here to provide protection. Master, I have already given the order. Luo Jinhong held the phone in both hands and stood back next to Mr. Lin. Old Lin looked at Zhang Ziheng outside the crowd calmly. Seeing that he was still indifferent, a hint of anger suddenly flashed in his eyes. From now on, anyone who stands in my way will have to pay the price. Your name is Liu Jiayuan, right? I'll remember you. I hope you can still laugh so happily when your family goes bankrupt. Old man, stop trying to scare me with your words. If it weren't for your age, I would have broken your legs just now. Liu Jiayuan said with a ferocious look on his face, turned around and pointed at Lin Ming and started shouting. Lin Ming, don't think that the matter is over. I will teach this kid a lesson first, and then I will use you as a scapegoat. Be polite to the old man. Just hit him a few times. Don't hurt the relationship. My Yusen still wants to be a star. It's unlucky to see blood. Zhang Ziheng said proudly. Hearing this, Liu Jiayuan hurriedly lowered his head. Don't worry, Master Zhang. I will do it. Looking at his pitiful appearance of wagging his tail and begging for mercy, Lin Ming really didn't know whether to feel sad for him or sneer at him. Old man, who are you? Today is a banquet for all the great families in Fengcheng. How did you get in? Someone listened to the old man's accent and found that he didn't seem to be a local, so they couldn't help but ask him. I am from Yangjing, why would I need to sneak in? I was invited in by you. From Yangjing. A trace of astonishment flashed across everyone's faces. They didn't expect that the old man's identity would involve Yangjing. Old man, aren't you afraid of getting your tongue stuck when you brag? Don't think you can pretend to be from Yangjing just because you have a Yangjing accent. Besides, even if you are from Yangjing, what's the big deal? Do you think you can scare us with just your identity? Not all people in Yangjing are big shots. This is our Fengcheng territory. Even you, the dragon crossing the river, have to kneel down and salute. Hearing this, Mr. Lin almost laughed out loud. He had seen people who did not know their own life or death, but it was rare to see people as ignorant as Liu Jiayuan and others. How many people have been cheated by these people to survive to this day? Faced with these teammates, this guy named Zhang Ziheng doesn't seem so unforgivable. Elder Lin looked at Zhang Ziheng coldly. Your name is Zhang Ziheng, right? I'll give you one last chance. Apologize to Mr. Lin immediately and kick these troublemakers out. I can pretend that what happened today never happened. Hearing this, Zhang Ziheng's eyes flickered. Before he could speak, Li Yusen spoke first. Old man, who do you think you are? How dare you act wildly here? Mr. Lin ignored Li Yusen, his eyes still fixed on Zhang Ziheng. I'm asking you a question, young man. This is your last chance. Zhang Ziheng sneered, raised his head proudly, and showed off the jade ring in his hand. With this ring, I am the head of the Zhang family. Why do I need you to give me a chance? Seeing this, Mr. Lin withdrew his last bit of mercy and turned away. In that case, you just wait to die. Stop, old man. Who told you to leave? Seeing that Mr. Lin dared to leave, Liu Jiayuan and others immediately shouted and tried to stop him. But at this moment, they all received a call. Liu Jiayuan and others turned on their phones and heard a few words, but they were so frightened that they almost collapsed to the ground. Impossible. The family business is doing well. How could the contract be terminated suddenly? How should I know? They just sent a notice and terminated the contract without any explanation. Moreover, departments at all levels required a review to check for tax evasion. Workers at all levels are on strike. It's a mess from top to bottom. Think about whether you have offended some important person. Hearing their wives' crying voices, Liu Jiayuan and others felt as if their end was approaching. They collapsed to the ground and almost fainted. The elevator door opened and the sound startled Liu Jiayuan and others. They looked up and saw Elder Lin's indifferent voice. For a moment, everyone took a deep breath. Could it be that what the old man said was right, and he was the one behind it? Chapter 27 Guilty Heart. Liu Jiayuan, who's calling? What's going on? Xu Chunchao looked at Liu Jiayuan's expression as if he had eaten shit, and suddenly had a bad feeling. This expression reminded him of that night a year ago. That night, he spent a huge amount of money to entertain his friends and spent money like water. He used a bottle of red wine worth 300,000 yuan as foot-washing water without blinking an eye. Because in his opinion, as long as he could hold Lin Ming, he could earn at least several hundred million or even tens of billions in the next few years. However, he was too young at that time, and no one told him that excessive joy leads to sorrow and that the waxing moon will wane. After a phone call, the stocks he held suddenly became worthless, and assets worth hundreds of millions were looted by a mysterious group. The scene at that time was just like this moment. I'm broke. Liu Jiayuan said with a pale face, turned around suddenly and looked at Zhang Ziheng. Master Zhang, please save me, you are the only one who can help me now. He offended a big shot because of the Zhang family. Who else could he turn to if not Zhang Ziheng? Zhang Ziheng got the jade ring and could represent the entire Zhang family. As long as he spoke, no one would dare to disobey him. Zhang Ziheng appeared calm on the surface, but was extremely shocked in his heart. What is going on? Who is that old man? When he said that these people were going to be in trouble, did Liu Jiayuan and others really go bankrupt? How could his words be so powerful? Luo Jinhong, it's you who did this, right? In a flash, Zhang Ziheng's mind suddenly moved and he thought of a possibility. You think too highly of me. I don't have this ability, and neither do you. After seeing Mr. Lin off, Luo Jinhong returned to the railing of the box on the second floor, sat on the sofa, and looked at Zhang Ziheng with a smile and a playful look on his face. At a certain moment, Zhang Ziheng actually saw a hint of mockery in Luo Jinhong's eyes. Mocking him for not knowing his own limitations, and even more mocking him for being short-sighted. Who is that old man? An indescribable fear surged in Zhang Ziheng's heart, and for the first time he took the weight of the old man's words seriously. If the other party was not joking, then the one who would be in trouble would not only be Liu Jiayuan, but also himself. You don't deserve to know who he is, but I can tell you one thing. The reason why the Zhu family held the banquet tonight, in addition to forcing Wang Bingning to get married, is to establish the Fengcheng Investment Association and promote the concept of Fengcheng to Yangjing. But actually, you don't need to go through so much trouble. As long as you can capture the heart of this old gentleman, he only needs to say a few words to help you gain a foothold in Yangjing and have a place there. Luo Jinhong said slowly, his eyes swept over Lin Ming, and the smile on his face deepened. This old gentleman's face is so great that you can't even imagine it. Listening to Luo Jinhong's story, Zhang Ziheng's eyes widened wider, while the others were even worse than Zhang Ziheng. Their legs became weak, they burst into tears, and even felt despair. He is from a Yangjing family, right? Zhang Ziheng said excitedly. Luo Jinhong was ambiguous and remained silent. Xu Chuanchao's legs went weak and he walked forward tremblingly, as if he wanted to go to the elevator entrance and catch up with the old man to admit his mistake. However, at this moment, Luo Jinhong waved his hand lightly, and two security guards walked up and hit him on the knee with a stick without saying a word. Only two cracking sounds were heard, and Xu Chunchao fell to the ground with a shrill scream, with almost all his bones broken. Xu Chunchao, what do you want to do? The one who beat the man was Luo Jinhong, and the one who spoke was also Luo Jinhong. He questioned Xu Chunchao as if Xu Chunchao did not know the rules. Luo Jinhong, are you crazy? I just wanted to apologize to the old man, why did you hit me? Xu Chunchao screamed. What qualifications do you have to apologize? Who allowed you to go upstairs and apologize? You are not even the head of one of the four major families. Who gave you this face? Luo Jinhong said disdainfully and waved his hand. Two security guards came forward, dragged Xu Chunchao like garbage, and threw him back into the noble box. Seeing this relief, Zhang Ziheng's face changed drastically. The family members who had just stood beside Zhang Ziheng now stepped forward and gathered on the second floor steps. Boss Luo, we are blind, please give us a chance. Those who had not offended Mr. Lin just now could come forward to say hello, but who dared to come forward when they stood on Zhang Ziheng's side in advance. For example, Xu Chunchao. He wanted to go up and apologize, but his legs were broken. Liu Jiayuan and others looked pale. Even if Xu Chunchao is not qualified, he is at least the young master of one of the four major families. And they are not even a part of the four major families, so aren't they even less qualified? But even if you are not qualified, you have to go anyway. Master Zhang, please don't be silent, you have to save us. Liu Jiayuan and others said with bitter faces. Zhang Ziheng's face looked extremely ugly. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. The other party is a big shot in Yangjing. Killing him is as easy as killing a stink bug. His status is not much higher than Xu Chunchao and others. Suddenly, Zhang Ziheng's heart moved, and he exerted force on the hands around Li Yusin's waist, and pinched the soft flesh on Li Yusin's waist with 2 fingers. Li Yusin was in a daze and had no idea what was going on. She is not from an aristocratic family. Even if she is obsessed with her status, it is only out of vanity. She has no idea how big the gap is between an aristocratic family and the big shots in Yangjing. But at least she felt pain. Zhang Ziheng used so much force that he almost broke her flesh. Yusin, what's wrong with you? After the fight, Zhang Ziheng immediately exclaimed and hugged Li Yusin directly, looking extremely distressed. Yusin is not feeling well. You guys should deal with the troubles you caused yourself. I didn't ask you to get into trouble. What does it have to do with me? Zhang Ziheng said, refusing to admit it, which stunned Liu Jiayuan and others. How could the head of the Zhang family, who had just taken office, do such an ungrateful thing? When you provoke a big shot, you don't care about the life or death of your little brothers. How can you be a big boss if you are so irresponsible? For a moment, Liu Jiayuan and others started cursing, but Zhang Ziheng turned a deaf ear to them. There was nothing he could do. What could he do? The four major families are indeed powerful, but only in a small place like Fengcheng. Compared with the big shots in Yangjing, they are just ants. Not to mention his Zhang family, even if the four major families combined expanded 10 times, if the big shots in Yangjing wanted to deal with them, they would only need a word. Moreover, he didn't know who the other party was. Poor guy, he was so eager to move up that he finally got the qualification to take over the family business. However, before he could be happy for long, he ran head on into a huge monster. If he had known that such a distinguished guest was present, how could he have dared to act rashly or be so arrogant? At this moment, Zhang Ziheng felt both regretful and uneasy, but there is everything in this world except regret medicine. What Zhang Ziheng couldn't understand even more was that he just wanted to attack Wang Bingning, so why was the old man so angry? Could it be that this old gentleman has taken a fancy to Wang Bingning? It can't be that it's just for Lin Ming's sake, right? Lin Ming, that old man, came for you, right?